Okay, hello, welcome to GauntletCon 2017. Woo! We're on day 3, so I think some of our players may be a little tired, but I am fresh because I only played one game yesterday, so I'm excited. I'm Mark Diaz Truman. I'm the creator of Cartel, one of the co-founders of Magpie Games, and I'm joined with a bunch of wonderful Gauntlet players here today to play a little bit of Cartel, which is the game I've been working on for the last couple of years. It's Mexican narco fiction, which means that we are going to play something that's in the range of The Wire meets Breaking Bad meets Once Upon a Time in Mexico. So the idea is that we're going to play crime fiction, which is very different than heist fiction, which is like Blades in the Dark, kind of like stealing stuff. This is more about these people and their messy lives and the kind of telenovela aspect of crime. That everybody's mixed up in each other's business. You are lying to each other. You're betraying each other. You're trying to get ahead, not necessarily through one job, but through maneuvering yourself and the loyalties that you hold. And so we've got 4 playbooks today that we're going to see out of the 6 core playbooks that we use, and we'll see the chaos spread out. Sometimes I think of Cartel as fiasco with PBTA rules, right? Which is that like things are going to go wrong, and our players are gonna have a good time trying to sort out how that works. So let's go around and introduce ourselves real quick. Donna, why don't we start with you? What's your name? Where are you from? Which playbook are you playing today? You're muted.
Muted, yeah, of course. I'm going to be playing Tilda La Policeta today. I'm thinking Tilda is late 20s, a woman with very watchful eyes, always kind of aware of what's going on, wears street clothes, maybe even when she shows up to the station, kind of eschews all the formal police bling or whatever. And this is maybe ostensibly because she's working undercover, but really she doesn't view the rest of the police she works with as trustworthy, as on her team, right? She's
Cool.
trying to set herself off from them.
Sounds good. You're a loose cannon, just ready to strike out on your own. Awesome. We'll come back and talk a little bit more about your character in a minute. That's awesome. Great. Fraser, how about you? Who are you and what are you playing today?
I'm Fraser Simons, he, him from Canada, and I'm going to be playing the Sicaria. My name is Mina. I'm a man with wild eyes and street clothes. I'm going to be loosely trying to channel Denzel Washington in Man on Fire.
Cool. Good. One of the important things about La Sicaria is that you have retired from the cartel at some point.
Oh, cool.
Meaning that you at one point stepped back from all this like death and destruction, and you've been sucked back into it. So it's perfect. Like Denzel Washington, like you're an old man by cartel standards, right? You might be like 32.
Nice. Okay.
Good. Garrett, how about you?
My name is Gerrit. I'm originally from Germany, but I live on the drug route, like where the drugs come from South America to North America. I'm living in Guatemala at the moment for, and so you have some slice of the taste. So today I want to get to see the different direction on it. I play El Narco, right?
Great.
The leader of the gang, so to say. My name is Alejandro. I have angry eyes. And I wear luxury clothes because this is the way to impress people and tell them that my business is going well.
Yes.
Exactly. So what I really hate is smoking. No matter what's inside, I hate smoking. Nobody should ever appear with a cigarette in front of me.
It's perfect. It's wonderful. Good. And finally, Horst, how about you?
So I'm Horst. I'm also originally from Germany. I don't know what's so bad about Germany that we all leave that beautiful country. I live in Amsterdam at the moment, and I'm playing Azul, which is a street enforcer, I think, El Halcón. And yes.
You're, among other things, you're sort of the lowest made man. So think about like there's a lot of people who aren't in the cartel. They may be like local gang members and things like that. You're the guy who's the lowest rung of the totem pole. So to everybody outside the cartel, you're like kind of impressive. You're like probably the only person they know who's like in the cartel. But to everybody else in the cartel, you're the You're the errand boy.
Yeah, so I have a small gang. I wear gang clothes, probably like a red, what's it called? Like a red, not scarf, but something that, yeah, exactly, bandera. I have sharp eyes and gang clothes.
Perfect. Good. Cool. All right. So here's how we're going to go through and do character creation. I'll kind of walk you through the basics of the game and make sure you kind of understand the choices you're going to make. But Cartel really relies upon you all creating a lot of fiction through your choices about the environments you bring to play. So, for example, Horse character Azul has a pandilla, which is like a gang. It's not like a gang like in Apocalypse World where you've got 20 like killers. Again, these are like 3 buddies you have who you've known since you were in middle school, who ride around with you and do things with you. Some of whom maybe aren't the sharpest Skittles in the rainbow, right? And some of whom are like awesome and like might totally get recruited to do other things by the cartel. So when you bring that stuff in, what you're doing is you're kind of saying, this is the stuff I think is interesting about this. Now, El Narco, you're going to actually get to kind of say how the whole plaza works. And so that actually invites a quick bit of background about what you need to know to play the game. So first of all, Mexico has, for a long time, been the entry point of drugs in the United States. And way back when the PRI, which was the sort of like one-party system that Mexico had for a very long time, when they realized that drugs were just going to flow up to America, they said, great, we're going to divide up the country and hand it over to these like narcos, and they're going to go ahead and move drugs up north. And as long as they continue to do so and pay their bills, we're going to leave them alone. And those divisions were all called plazas, right? So the Plaza of Durango, which is about 10 hours south of the U.S. border, is an important one. Even though it's like not really that impressive a city, it's one of the main places that drugs flow up through into the United States. A lot of things have to go through that plaza. And so whichever cartel controlled it would be able to kind of skim off the top. It doesn't mean that they would try to stop other people from moving drugs through. That's how you end up with wars. But if the Sinaloa drug cartel, which is sort of the classic Coke of drug cartels that you all work for, is moving things north, and they own the territory, great. If the Gulf cartel, which is a different cartel, wants to move things north, that's great too, as long as they pay the price, right? And they keep things moving. So when you, Garrett, your Alejandro, has taken over this plaza, it means that you've displaced the last guy or gal who used to run it, and now you're in charge. But you still have some people above you. The Sinaloa drug cartel, the big bosses live in the mountains, like far, far away from all of this, right? And they might come and ask you questions about how you're doing. But for the most part, they would prefer to not have to deal with your bullshit. They would prefer just like you run your plaza, you have very few problems, we all make a lot of money, and there's no consequences. But there are some looming threats on the horizon. Now that Mexico is a democracy, all the government is not really supporting the plaza system anymore, but the cartels love the plaza system because it's great. Like everybody's kind of gets along, and now they don't have to pay the government, so it's even better, right? We'll keep this plaza system, but we're going to stop those whole paying the government part. But that means that there's a lot of conflict between the cartels as they kind of jockey for position. And one of the cartels that's particularly dangerous is called Los Zetas. Los Zetas, often referred to as those who should not be named, or the last letter, because Mexicanos are we're a little superstitious. They're sort of the big bads. You all work for what are basically business people. They're violent sometimes, and they're ruthless. But the Zetas are like crazy. They're special forces people. They used to work for the Mexican government. They were recruited by the Gulf cartel away from, like literally special forces people. They were recruited away from the military because it looked like Mexico might prosecute some people for war crimes. That didn't really happen, but it looked like it might. And so these folks came over to the Gulf cartel who recruited them. And then eventually we're like, wait, why do we work for these losers? Killed all those people and took over and made their own cartel. And Los Zetas is like the cartels on steroids. They're the people who have like cut off folks' faces and sewn them to soccer balls as a warning, and like started torturing people and all this stuff. So they're sort of always lurking in the background. They're the scary version of you. And you're not exactly not scary people to begin with. But even so, they kind of loom in the horizon. Okay, does that make sense? Cool. And the Polizeta name Donna, like that's kind of a pun on the idea that like you're a policia, but you work for the cartels, or you're a polizetta, right? So it's kind of a play on words. So, all right, great. So let's talk about your playbook. So the first thing you're going to look at is you've got 4 stats to assign and a heat score. Your heat score is fixed by your playbook, and it basically tells us how interested the authorities are in your playbook. So, for example, Garrett, what's your heat score as the narco?
I start on +2.
Yeah, so everything you do, the authorities kind of like, yeah, they're pretty interested. Meanwhile, the cocinero, the cook, who we don't have in play, has a -2 heat score. Like nobody probably even knows that he cooks drugs for the cartel, right? Now, the other stats are all things you're going to get to pick. There's a number in your playbook that shows you what the base is, and you're going to add 1 to it. If we look at the basic moves real quick, face, the first stat is really designed around projecting your will upon the world. So when you justify your behavior to other people, when you propose business dealings, when you put on a show for everybody else, your face score will determine how much control you have in that situation. The next one is grit. Grit is like cool in Apocalypse World. It's kind of when we don't have anything else to roll, you're going to roll to push your luck. It's also about kind of like how well you can sort of hold yourself together under pressure. Okay. The next 2, get the truth and pressure someone, next 2 moves, are hustle. Hustle's like drawing people in rather than sort of pushing out your will, right? So face is all about putting on a show. Hustle's all about being like, come on, man, just tell me the truth. Like, just tell me what you think, right? Or pressuring someone to go along with you. Like, hey, you should do this for me. Note that pressure someone and propose a deal are kind of 2 ways of getting things done. Proposing a deal is like, hey, Fraser, we're friends. Can you take me to the airport? I'll give you gas money. It's like an equal exchange. Pressure someone is like, dude, come on, I totally bailed you out before. You got to help me do this. Like, I'm not offering you anything. I want you to just help me because we're friends. Okay, that distinction is important in cartel. Are you offering money, equitable deals, or are you trying to get people to go along with you? And then finally, we've got savagery, which is around kind of sizing other people up and also turning to violence when you actually like do something violent in the game. Notice that turning to violence doesn't have like the distinction that like Apocalypse World does. We're not worried about whether you're seizing something or trying to threaten someone. If you're trying to threaten someone, that's really pressuring them, right? You're trying to pressure them to like go along with you. Turning to violence is when you literally start shooting or start hitting somebody. And notice that one of the options that's in there is avoiding collateral damage, which means that when you open fire in a crowded marketplace, you're going to have to actually pick options to avoid hurting other people. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. So go ahead and assign your stats to those 4. We'll talk about them in a minute, but you can go ahead and write them in. And then go ahead and pick your moves and your keys. So moves in this game, some people like the El Narco doesn't get a ton of move options because you're going to spend more time working on your plaza, which is sort of like your additional extra. But some folks have a number of moves. If you have any questions about the moves, let me know and I'll answer them. But the important thing about your keys is that's how you're going to get experience. So in this game, we don't mark XP on a miss or anything like that. You mark XP when you do the thing that the key asks you to do. So for example, for El Narco, you might pick Dirty Hands as your key. And Dirty Hands says mark XP when you personally tackle a messy problem instead of sending goons. You can also clear the key and just claim in advance by sending someone to deal with a problem you should have attended to directly. So there's kind of 2 ways to advance there. One is to mark XP and slowly kind of move up until you have your 3rd XP marked, in which case you'll mark in advance. Or you can always clear the key and just take an advance immediately by doing what the key asks you to do. And when you do that, you'll get a new key. That's not a huge part of the game in a one-shot, but like it's worth doing because you will probably advance once or twice during the session. Okay.
One quick question. You said that like the gray stats is what we have now, and then we just add 1 to one of them, and then that's it, right?
That's it. Yep. You add 1 to one of them in your set.
Okay. If other people are picking, I'm straight savage. So just so you know.
Cool. Yeah. Savagery is a great stat for the Sicaria. So each one of you also gets some additional things. So the La Polizetta you'll have on the back of your character sheet or back of your playbook. your departments. So it's basically like you work for an anti-cartel organization. You're going to tell us some things about it. La Sicaria, you get a whole bunch of guns and other gear that might come into play, so you can make your choices there. Garrett, as El Narco, you're going to get to choose La Plaza, which is you're going to make a bunch of choices about what running drugs through Durango looks like in this case. And then finally, as El Halcon, you're going to get to define your pandilla, which is, like I said, that gang. And again, not like an Apocalypse World gang, more like a crew, like a skate crew, right? Like there's 3 or 4 people that you hang out with all the time. Okay, cool. So we'll take a few minutes now to just make those choices. Let me know if you have questions. Garrett, I know you need to drop out and come back in. Now's a great time to do it. So we'll just take a few minutes to do that. And in the meantime, I'm here to answer any questions that pop up.
Do you think, like in con games, it's always so hard for me to choose moves because I'm not sure what will be applicable?
Yeah. I mean, they all should come into play pretty quickly, but I think that for you, like, depending on...
I definitely think I want when I track someone down on the streets. I think that's cool.
It's a good one.
But I'm not sure about anything else.
I mean, one of my goals for this is to have these be pretty immediately useful. So again, Cartel is like a 1 to 3 session game. So like, it's not like Apocalypse World where you're like, hey, that move came into play in session 3. Like it should be pretty quick. So feel free to pick what you want. And then it's kind of my job to like make sure that might come up. Right. And again, some of these like Narco Corrido, for example, is one where you get to say when it comes up. So there's also a lot of tools for you to jump right in and use those things.
Okay. Since we have a police person, I'm going to pick a police uniform because I think that will be fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Now, there is a distinction here between the La Policia and Los Federales. La Policia are local cops, and for the most part, they're not going to mess with you because you, like if you show up if a police officer stops you in Mexico and you have a dead body in the backseat, they're probably going to be like, okay, not worth my time, thank you. Because you're clearly a dangerous person, right? So that's how we think of like security guards here in the U.S., right? Like a security guard is going to be like, it's not really for me. Los Federales are like the FBI, though. They're serious cops, and the Polizeta is actually a federale. Now, when you say you have a police uniform, though, ordinary citizens will just ignore you, right? Because you're wandering around doing police stuff, and often Los Federales and La Policia work hand in hand, right? So that's cool too.
Okay. Cool, thanks. Yeah, I definitely would have made that distinction, so thank you.
I actually didn't either. One of the folks I work with, who I think Miguel Anela Espinosa, who actually does some design work of his own, is one of our like cultural consultants for this, and he was the one that was like, actually, this is not how the police work here, because I had kind of the traditional like local cops, federal cops kind of vibe in the original draft. So this is actually a change to make it more accurate, I guess.
Oh, cool. And then my keys are going to be Indomitable and Mercy, not Duty, because I think doing my duty is what like breaks my heart, kind of thing.
That's great. I love it.
So I don't want XP for that. I just want to hurt.
Perfect. Cool. Horst, Donna, do either one of you have any questions?
Not for me. I'm just making my choices from the back of the sheet.
Perfect.
Seem pretty straightforward.
Great.
The kind of toys I get from the department, one of them is criminal informants.
Yeah.
Are costly. But I don't know if I have much cash. Is that a thing?
So there's a couple things. First of all, costly may mean that they want things other than cash, or that you may not have enough cash on hand and maybe you need to put in a requisition, right? But in general, all of you have a lifestyle score, right? A lifestyle stat, basically. So for La Polizeta, if you look under your gear, you have a stable lifestyle. So that's not bad. Like stable's kind of middle of the pack. El Halcon, on the other hand, what's your lifestyle, El Halcon?
What is it? A destitute lifestyle.
Destitute, right? Yeah. So he's in a really bad spot, right? Like he's got basically the cash he has in his pockets, and that's probably it, right? So when you strain your finances, meaning you try to buy something that's kind of at the limit of what you can buy, there's a move for that. If El Halcón tries to go buy a yacht, I'm going to be like, how would you do that? Like you can't come up with anything. But if he's like wants to take his girl out for a nice dinner, that's like, okay, I like got all the change out of the couch, and I'm going to take her to like the best place I can take her, then that's where you're straining your finances. So it may be that like if you want to pay somebody off and not have the department know about it, then you might strain your finances to get enough cash together to make it happen.
Sure. Yeah. Cool.
Is it help? Do you want to know what moves we took?
We'll totally talk about it. Like mostly I want to make sure we've got this space free to answer questions and deal with anything that's coming up where people aren't clear about something.
Okay, then I think I'm
and
good.
If you want to put in the chat what your moves are, that's awesome.
Oh, okay, sure.
You just throw it in there. That way I kind of know what they are, and I'm not sure that we each other needs to know that much, right? We'll talk about it.
Is there any other things that people usually default on that I should be aware of? Because I'll probably default on everything, having not been aware of this source material.
No, it's totally cool, man. Like the goal is just to jump in. You're good. So a lot of it's also about the particular mix of playbooks. So each playbook brings a very different feel to the game. So if we have, for example, La Polizetta, then the cops are like part of all these scenes, right? If the Polizetta is not in play, then cops only come into play in certain conditions, right? So it has a lot to do with which exact playbooks you're using.
Hmm.
All right, cool. So, Fraser, you took Narco Corrido. So a Narco Corrido is basically like a story song. It's basically like there is a song about your character that is a major hit in Mexico. So people like know you by this song that's been played. So I want you to think about when we introduce your character, we're talking about your song. And a little bit of way of thinking about this is it's like Jack and Diane by John Cougar Mellencamp, right? Like it's a story song. It's not like sung from your perspective. It's sung about you, right? So some famous ones are like, here, I can post a link here. These are the 10 best narco corridos from this random list on the internet, but they're pretty good. But they're things like, here's these two people who cross the border and one betrays the other and leaves them for dead, right? Sometimes they're very moralistic, like the cartels hire this guy and then they betray him and he murders all of them, right? And so like the whole idea is they're sort of Robin Hood songs. And it's important to note that within Mexico, the cartels are not seen as villains necessarily. It's more complicated. Remember, the government is often viewed as very corrupt, very inefficient, very not helpful for the ordinary person. Whereas the patrons of the narco culture will come in and hand out money and buy people houses and take care of folks, right? So this whole idea that there are bad guys and good guys gets really messy when you think about the fact that the bad guys are often the people that are from outside who come in and like make the narcos' lives miserable. The good guys are sometimes criminals who make the local community work, right? So it's a little complicated. Garrett, any questions about your plaza, or are you getting towards the end?
I get towards the end. I have picked 3 out of 4 from the top list.
Cool.
I want to have a lot of income. I want to be rich.
You don't have to be rich. Everybody likes to be rich. Yes, there's. Good. Okay. Good, man. Cool. Well, we're getting towards the end of character creation. So wrap up. If you picked your moves, drop them in the chat so I kind of know what's up with your character, and then we're going to go through, introduce ourselves, and then do los enlaces, which means ties. Like, what are your ties to each other? And as we go through, you might find that you might have like one extra tie that doesn't fit. That's totally cool. We'll get NPCs in. We'll have other characters that can fill those out. But our goal is to direct a lot of these ties at each other, so we have a lot of reasons to have scenes together. Because we don't have a ton of time to play today, my expectation is we're going to kind of hard frame a lot of scenes. I'm going to push characters together. We're going to have a lot of action happening. Cartel, ironically, doesn't really fit the like, what are you doing today kind of apocalypse world thing. It's much more like, let's jump into some conflicts that are happening right away. Because what are you doing today might be boring paperwork for the cartel. Like, I'm counting all our money, right? It has to be, I'm counting our money and something's happening. So there's a lot of start of session moves, a lot of sort of getting into scenes. So let's wrap up picking our moves, and then we'll start to introduce our characters, starting with El Narco, because we have to know kind of like what's the plaza like, and then we'll go through the other characters.
Yes.
So let's see. Horst, you took Bandito. Anything else, or is that the only one? Yeah, you only get the one more. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you only get the one more. Great. It's a solid one.
Hopefully it gets me out of trouble.
Yeah. You might be the only thing that gets you out of trouble. So, great. And if you could also, when you introduce your character, go ahead and tell us which keys you've chosen as well. Those are a big, like, what motivates your character. They're kind of central to who your character is. So. And and in general, I'll post a link on the watch page as well. But one of the joys of Narco Corridos is that they're kind of awesomely ridiculous. So if you're not familiar with the style, you don't have a chance to listen to it. It's basically gangster rap with tubas and accordions. Like that's that's kind of a great way to think about like how sort of tragic, awesome, and silly cartel stuff is, right? Like it's all kind of there in one bite-sized piece. So, all right, Garrett, let's go ahead. Tell us a little bit about your plaza and Alejandro, this new dawn of the plaza.
Well, it's actually one of the most beautiful plazas in the country, not because it has astonishing views when you walk your way up, but it's also highly profitable. Like it brings in substantial sums of money.
Okay.
So I get plus on lifestyle, trouble, and robberies.
Yes.
But for extra income, because I'm a greedy person, right? So I also add a lot of kidnapping.
Okay, great.
Kidnapping is kind of lucrative, like especially if you kidnap the right person. Unfortunately, recently we kidnapped somebody who is related to the government, and since then we got some government attraction. That's from the bottom list. Attracted the attention of the presidential election. It was a terrible misunderstanding, and the niece from the vice president is definitely not on our list. It just happened that same name.
Yes.
Everybody is Maria here. So what shall I do?
Yes.
So the third option for income is migrant smuggling. It's like some people say it's not so attractive to go to the States anymore since recently, but actually it is. Because the more hate is going on, the more money can be made underground. So smuggling migrants from South America, Central America to the States is highly lucrative as well. But
there's always people who want to move north.
Yeah, but you can't keep a reputation by just making money in this business. You also sometimes need to make a statement, a strong statement, a bloody statement. So I chose to have especially bloody violence among my enforcers, so I can roll with face instead of hustle.
Great. So you have a reputation. Yeah, Alejandro has a reputation for being just like savage at people sometimes. So when he threatens you, normally he would roll hustle to pressure you to go wrong. But for him, he can just just looks at you and you're like, no, please don't hurt me, right? So definitely cool. That's great. And so you already mentioned these problems with the government, the federal government, which has turned its eye towards you, right? And one quick thing about that. So this game is set in 2007. There's a couple things about that really matter. One, no smartphones. Almost no one has a smartphone. It's all flip phones, sidekicks, BlackBerries if you're really rich. It's not this kind of culture of everybody checking social media all the time. It's a lot of texting, and in fact, a lot of the moves can be triggered through text messages. So it's an important thing is that a lot of this game is about talking and triggering moves by talking and saying things. But the other big thing is that the government hasn't quite declared war on the cartels yet. See, 2007 was when President Calderon said, no, the military is going to get involved and we're going to get this wrapped up. It'll take a couple months. 10 years later, the cartels are stronger than ever. But at the time, it looks like the government's going to lay down the law. So you're one of the first targets, right? The president, you caught the president's special attention, and they've devoted a whole anti-cartel task force with military support to making sure that the streets of Durango are cleared up.
Yeah, but I'm sure we can settle that. It's just a matter of time to meet the right people. However, I don't have a gang, but my enforcers are just a pair of bodyguards.
Nice.
Makes sense to have like a AC in that position. Otherwise, if not, they are Juan and Pedro.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and they're very loyal, right? I mean, these are people that you trust intimately.
Yes, intimately. It's the right word. Yes. They've seen me in situations I don't want anybody else to see me, or not to live much longer afterwards.
Good, cool. And those are your two troubles, right? Cool. Good. Okay. So how did you come to control this plaza? Like, you are relatively new to it. It's very profitable. There's a lot going on. How did you end up in charge of it?
I'm relative to somebody who already controls another one, I guess. So they are actually spreading. It's like my tío, my uncle, is like controlling another plaza, and it was a good recommendation to hire me for this position.
That's great. So the last narco, something happened to him, and they needed a new narco, and you were available.
I was just there at the right moment in the right place.
That sounds good. Perfect. I love it, Grant. That's wonderful. Great. All right, so let's hear from the other side of the coin. So El Halcón, you're at the lowest level, man. You just do all this. You move drugs around. You drive cars. You do whatever the cartel needs. Tell us about your character.
So I have a group of hermanos, which is Lola, Chino, and Flaco.
Okay.
And Flaco is there to cheer me up when the going gets tough. And we have one troublemaker, which is Lola, because she is into drugs a bit too much and gets crazy when she's on.
Okay.
And then I have who's left? Who did I name? Flaco and Lola.
Chino?
And Chino. Yeah. Chino is a very trustworthy and solid, and I can trust him completely.
That's great. And so how does Flaco cheer you up? Is he, because Flaco means skinny. First of all, is he actually skinny? A lot of Mexican nicknames go the other way. Yeah. Like that like they're almost ironic. So is he actually skinny, or is he actually like a big man?
No, he's chubby.
Okay, great.
I think he's rather small and chubby and has this fat man walk, and that cheers me up every time.
Okay, yeah. So he's
and
kind
he
of a good,
like a penguin.
Yeah, he's kind of a good-natured guy, right? Like, he's got big smile, always nice, all that. Great. Why can't you just get rid of Lola? Like, if she's so much trouble, why not just cut her off?
Because she's also my best asset. If other gangs try to rough us up, I send her.
Oh, because she's actually really like deadly. Like, is she actually like will cut people? Yeah. Like, she's kind of intimidating.
Yeah, she's a psychopath. Great. Especially either if she's really on, or she hasn't had a nose of the good stuff.
Great. So she's all the time, actually. she's a pretty serious asset. Great, cool. And are these people you grew up with? Like, did you know them when you were a kid? Like, how much do you trust them, and what are they like?
Yeah, I think that we know each other from school, and then the cartel obviously used us to sling product when we were really kids, and we
Great.
worked the corners. And
yeah. Now, actually, in real life, most halcones are actually like 10. That's like a little too real for me. Like my realness meter gets tapped out there. So we kind of, you guys are kind of like teenagers, young adults. But yeah, you've been working for the cartel for a while. That's great. And what keeps you in this life? Like, is this like the best life you can imagine for yourself? Do you have dreams to do other things?
I picked ambition as the key. So I want to get out. I want to, I want to get out of the game if possible, or I don't know, like be so rich that maybe one day I can, be the boss.
Be the boss yourself. That sounds great, man. Good. All right, great. La Sicaria, tell us, what is it like to work the more lethal side of the business?
I think that I have been doing it a long time, and over time, my morality has slowly slid to the point where I really like messed up, and that's when the song was written about me. I was after somebody, like someone just paid me an exorbitant amount of money to get back at a cartel, and I was just like reaving death through there when I think I broke my biggest taboo, and a bullet maybe hit a child or someone young or a woman or something like that. Great. And that was like the tipping point for me where I was just like, fuck this life, essentially. But I think the person that I slayed was a member of a very predominant family or a cartel or something like that. And I had a family, and when I returned, they were like slain except for maybe my daughter, who was like 15 or something. And I think they OD'd her so that I had to watch her die in a hospital. And I am at the hospital now, sort of waiting for her to perish, stoking the flame of like hate inside of me.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That's all pretty on brand. All right. So great. Cool. Okay. So let's slow down for just a second, because I want to make sure we don't throw too much in there. But
yeah, for sure.
So so your song is about how you killed all these people, and you realized, oh, I've gone too far, and you walked off into the sunset. And we're going to talk about what's brought you back. But I love the whole somebody has killed your family kind of thing. So that sounds great. We'll come back to that. That's good. But I want to tie that to other characters, so it's not just you off by yourself.
Yeah, sad, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
That sounds great. Cool. Tell us about the kind of gear you are known to carry. Other people know you have this stuff because you're kind of legendary for it.
Yeah, I think part of being a legend is the police uniform. I was sort of like a vigilante. People would be like, oh, the police don't do anything. But then I would dress up as a policeman and enact justice. And then it would kind of like put a scare on people, being like, oh, the police are actually doing their job today, baby. Or you'll just get whacked by this guy who looks like a police officer.
Cool.
I've got body armor, armor-piercing ammo, a silencer, and the uniform. And the other one, I've got knives, a 9mm grenade launcher, and a sniper rifle. So don't fuck with me, basically.
Okay, cool. All right, knives, 9mm sniper rifle, and the
grenade launcher.
Launcher.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. The first play test I did of Cartel, somebody said, oh, this grenade launcher's on here. You must have left this out here from Apocalypse World. I was like, no, that's a thing. So you've got this material, there's like things you've gotten probably like from the military, like that you still have, right?
I think that I've never even used the grenade launcher. Like, I'm thinking the professional, like the better you are at your job, the closer you kill them, and then you work your way out.
So. I like it. So one of the reasons it sounds to me like you've lived so long doing this job, because the average age of a hitman in Mexico is probably 15, 16, right? The reason you've lived so long is because you're careful, it sounds like you get up close to people. Is that right?
Yeah. I think that the primary reason why I got into it was because I had a family, and then it sort of pulled me into the darkness, and now I've paid for it.
That's perfect. I love it. Yes, that's great. Cool. Finally, last but not least, La Polizetta. Tell us about your double life.
So I think Tilda grew up in this neighborhood, but when she joined the police force, she moved away. She was maybe they make a habit of posting you somewhere else because don't be stupid.
Yeah.
Way up with some really good work, and then it's like, oh, the government is paying the terrain. You grew up here, put you in here and bring these guys down. A bit too entrenched.
That's perfect.
Maybe I grew up with these folks.
Yeah. You grew up here in Durango, right? That's great. So tell us, like, why do you work for the cartel? Like, how long have you been corrupt, and what are your reasons?
I think it's something maybe really basic, like people. They're my friends. I'm not going to turn snitch on them. I mean, if it was a different cartel, sure, I would put them against the wall, no problem.
Yeah.
But
okay, great.
They mean something to me.
Great. Yeah. So they've kind of the Federales have erred by bringing you back here because now you've seen these people. They're your family. You know them. You maybe even kept some of those family ties secret when you joined, so you could join. But now you've kind of been stuck here. Did you fight coming back home? Were you like, no, this is a bad plan. Don't move me here, or did you kind of immediately see the potential?
Yeah, I think it's almost like you guys have made a terrible mistake. Sure, sign me up. Because my sense of loyalty means that even if I wasn't picked, I probably would have put in for a transfer.
Yeah.
To take care of my people.
Okay, you guys nailed it. This is great. This is a great setup. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our enlaces. And the way the enlaces works is we'll do one at a time. You're going to set up all these ties between your characters. Like I said, if you get to a point where a tie doesn't make sense, like, oh, I guess somebody's supposed to be my family, but we've kind of defined everybody here as not my family. That's awesome. We can always bring in an NPC, and I'm always happy to supply something. Okay, so let's start again with El Narco. So El Narco, pick one of your enlaces, and let's get it assigned to a PC.
Okay. My first one is familia, but you've tried to shield them from the worst of it. That should be my beloved wife, Juanita.
Okay. Well, let's start with PCs. So, yeah, like let's see if we can.
PCs.
Yeah, if you want to save that one for later, that's awesome. But let's start with PCs. So, do you want one of the PCs here to be your family?
It didn't stick to me like from the character description, or is anybody thinking that they should be familia or for me? Otherwise, I would pick another one for you.
Well, I mean, I actually think that the Polizetta could totally be like your kid, who's like kept the connection quiet and has left. Now, it depends on how old you think you are. So, is your character 40, 50, where it would make sense that she's your daughter?
That could be the case. To be a sister.
Or sister, yeah, sister would be great too. Yeah, that's awesome. What do you think? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it wasn't quite the level of connection I had been thinking about, but let's go with it.
Okay, great, cool, yeah. So you got this sister, and yeah, you've tried to shield her from the worst of it, and then so what does that mean? Like you've kind of kept your cartel dealings secret up to this point, Alejandro?
No. But for her, we are much better than the others, like morally, and we are not.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, that's what you tell yourself, more or less, right? So what does she know about your dealings? Like, how much does she know about what you do?
Like we do all kind of things, but it's mainly about the migrants. Like we traffic people through to United States that they can find a new life there, and they had a much worse life before, and because we need to finance that, because it's not profitable by itself, we also do a little bit of drugs.
All right, great. So you've told her this. We'll see how much she knows, but at least that's your thinking on it. That's great. I love it. El Halcón, let's go to you. What's your enlace do you want to start with?
I would like to start with Let's see. Someone gave me new responsibilities lately, but it says at my request, they have their doubts, but you will prove them wrong soon. So I don't think it's the boss. That would be a bit far-fetched. I think maybe, I don't know. Fraser, what do you think? El Sicario?
What was it again? Can you re-say it?
Like, I've got new responsibilities.
Right.
And I asked you for it, or I begged you for it. Let me do this thing. And you were doubtful, but I will prove you wrong.
Okay, well, this is a little dark, but what if you were the one that was supposed to protect my family and then you failed and they died?
Well, this is something that should be going forward, right? Like this is a responsibility, I think. Now, it could be that you've put him on the case of who did it.
Yeah,
Right.
that would be good. Yeah, and I'm like, because I have to wait by my daughter's side in the hospital, so that makes sense.
So I heard it, and then I approached you because I'm ambitious, and I said, I can totally find out who did that.
That's great.
Sounds
But
good.
as it is phrased, you are not really, you know, you
Confident
don't
that you'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Azul's not necessarily the most competent agent, right? So you're not entirely convinced that this gangbanger kid is going to be able to track down these guys that shot up your family, right?
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Cool. Okay. Next up, La Polizetta.
So I'm looking at one. I think it's kind of obvious. Someone is my main contact in the cartel. The Alejandro, right?
Could be,
Alejandro.
might not be. It might be that Alejandro has assigned somebody to do it. So don't feel like you have to make that choice. But it's awesome if it is Alejandro. Right?
I think the interesting thing is, tell us how contact when we need the face-to-face meeting, and obviously I can't drive into the house, right? So I'm thinking maybe there's, I don't know, football stadium or some kind of sports venue that we used to go when we were kids, and we like sit in our old, when we weren't quite famous or whatever, the family wasn't famous. We sit in our old seats and we just talk over whatever we get at a soccer match.
Yeah, I love it. It might also be that you are half siblings, or there's something like where your parents were divorced, you went to live with one, or so there's some way, but it's very much still like Mexican fiction has this like, oh my God, these people are related. How crazy, right? Like how shocking. How would no one know, right? It's like totally a trope of this kind of fiction. And like Once Upon a Time in Mexico, there's like a big reveal. Like this person's someone's daughter. Like how would the authorities not know that? But okay, whatever. We're rolling with it, right? So that's perfect. I love the idea of you going and meeting at the soccer stadium and people playing football and all that's great. So wonderful. Fraser, go ahead. What's Sicarios' connection?
I like all of these, to be honest. I could see Blank got you back into business being the narco after you had retired, and that was just like in my head for like this movie or TV show. I'm like doing okay until that monitor flatlines, and then I just explode into the world, kind of thing. So I don't know if somebody wants to be responsible for that, like the narco, or if somebody had fucked up something crucial.
Well, we're going to do all of them, right? So we're not just going to do one. So we'll do all three. So just pick which one you think is most interesting to start.
Probably the narco makes the most sense to get me back into business, I think.
Sure. Yeah, that's great.
And what was the name of that again, Garrett?
Alejandro.
Alejandro. Oh, nice.
Okay, so where were you living when you retired? Did you just stay in Durango, but you were like out of the game?
Yeah, like let's just go right into the darkness. I was just like tilling the land with my family and like, yeah, it was like the perfect little life with like a little teenage daughter that was very nice, and my wife was making food every day for me, and I would farm the land and stuff like that, and every now and then I would disappear on them to do a job and come back, but Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, you've got like this little like house on your property that like you've told your kids like never go there, like that's not for you. And like John Wick style, like you go in and you like lift up the tarp and there's all these weapons and stuff. It's perfect. All right. So you had gone back to just farming your land. Alejandro, how did you convince Mina to come back to the game? Like, are you the one who offered something after this incident with this other gang? Like, what makes Mina sort of come back to this life?
Well, I have you have a daughter in the hospital, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I have like, because of all the income I have and all the cool parties I go to, I have contact to a very good surgeon.
Okay, or even you pay the bills, right? I probably can't pay the bills. I'm impoverished lifestyle.
Yeah, you left. You spent all your money paying off your farm or whatever, right? Like,
yeah. I pay the bills, and I brought the surgeon from the States.
That's great. I love it.
Because I take it so personal. It's so important for me as well that your daughter as well.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. That's great. Okay, next up, El Narco, tell us what's your next tie.
My next tie, switch back to that, is you're sure that somebody is up to something. Maybe another cartel or la policía. Keep your eyes open, Caron. Trust no one. Yes, so the one I'm not trusting that much, actually, that is Azul. Because he is just a little street rat. And he has just been too often in the capital.
Yeah, so he might be up to something, right? And Azul, did you used to work for the old Narco?
Definitely. And also my gang is connected, so I do think that we do stuff on the side.
Yeah, you know other cartels.
So the old Narco died, or disappeared, or whatever happened to them, and I was not happy with a new completely understaffed jefe. And so we tried to make connections, and so officially I'm still working for Alejandro, obviously, but there's other irons in the foil.
That sounds good. Good. So we'll say the old one was Don Santiago, right? And nobody really knows what happened to him, but it's clear that one day he didn't run things anymore, right? And your contact from the cartel, Alejandro, approached you. Really quick, let's talk about your contact from the cartel. What's your contact's name?
Their name is Basura.
Cool. All right, great. And what are they like?
Well, they have the name for a reason. They produce a lot of styrofoam, Basura, because they prefer the old-fashioned McDonald's in styrofoam. So even their tortillas they have in styrofoam, which is quite disgusting.
Cool.
And whatever they have, they throw it in the ground. And he's eating the whole time. So he's a big guy. He's a really big guy. Yeah, and you can hardly understand him because he has something in his mouth the whole time, but he does that on purpose because if nobody didn't really understand, it can be interpreted in the worst way.
Yeah, right. All right, great. So he's this like kind of filthy, like unkept, big beard, long hair kind of guy, right? And he's always kind of throwing things around. Perfect. That's great. Cool. Okay. So El Halcón, what's your next enlace?
So my next one is someone has a plan to make some real money. They worry it's not going to work out with me, but I know it's a sure thing. So I was hoping Tilde maybe
sounds good.
Would indulge me.
That's
so
great.
Again, I approached her obviously and was saying, I have this new connection and we can make this work. Trust me.
So what is this? What is this deal that you've approached her with that she's considering?
I think it must be drugs.
Okay.
I think that another like another what's it called? Not a gang, but not La Zeta, but another cartel, let's say, another cartel, the options to get drugs over the border, maybe. And because I know the smuggling routes for trafficking and everything, we can use these to get the drugs into the States.
Great. So why don't we do this? We'll say that the anti-cartel task force Tilda has recently actually made some progress and claimed a bunch of El Narco's drugs, right? And so I think that Azul's got this plan of hey, we'll just take those from the police station, right? They'll just disappear, and I can make a bunch of money. You'll make a bunch of money, right? So it's this kind of whole thing. Is that cool with you?
Exceptionally dangerous and foolish, right?
So you've got some doubts about this plan. So what's your in, Lassie? Let's start there. You don't have to be considering that this seriously, right? Azul is the one who's got the plan. You might just have listened to him talk, right?
Yeah, I think is that someone is the target of an active investigation. I'm not the lead investigator, but I'm regularly briefed on the case. And so investigation is about this very deal that Azul has been pitching to me, right? Not the particulars, but maybe the fact that someone inside Alejandro's organization is trying to cut a deal with some different organization, and they don't know who it is, who's going to supply them this whole new untapped reservoir of drugs.
That's great. So Azul is actually the one under investigation because they think he's the way that they can get to Alejandro?
Maybe they're trying to not to get to Alejandro, to get to this new source of drugs, right?
I see. Okay.
They're saying, oh, this Azul guy, he's cutting a deal with a different cartel. We gotta find out who these new guys are in town.
That sounds awesome. Good. So tell us just a little bit about your organization, because you've got a partner and some other folks that are suspicious of you. So tell us a little bit about those folks.
Yeah, is my new partner. What I'm thinking is that he is an older guy, maybe early 40s, mid 40s. He's been around for forever. And he's kind of a lazy, keep his head down, not get into trouble kind of guy.
Okay. And what was his name again? You broke
if
up
I
a little
was
bit.
working.
Okay.
Was that in a different part of the country, I would try to get him busted. I can't work with someone who's lazy, but now it kind of suits me, right?
Yeah. You're like, no, you finish your beer. I'm going to go deal with this thing.
Yeah. I think the awkwardness here is that sometimes I really need to get something done, kind of keep him on side. I've got to pretend to be like him to be able to make my excuses. Right?
Great. And who's suspicious of you in the department? Cool. Ortiz, good. And what is it about your behavior or your background that makes Ortiz suspicious?
Kind of sense that I'm not a team player, and behavior with Delgado doesn't scan with my history in other task forces. Like he's read my file, he said this Tilda should be kicking ass, taking names, to be dragging their feet, and he doesn't like that.
That's great. Okay, perfect. Next up, La Sicario.
I think I owe Azul for getting you out of a tight spot. You won't die for them, but you both know that you need to settle up soon, and that might be how we made that deal, right? Like, I think maybe I even wanted to die in that situation where my family died, but you kind of saved me, and then you were like, hey, I'll go fuck these guys up for you if you want.
Oh, that's great.
And I was like, oh, okay, I'll give you a chance, right?
Yeah, I love that they probably came for your family while you were gone, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They killed them at the farm, right? And then when you were in town, some guy came for you, and Azul's crew like got in the way and saved you, right?
Exactly.
Perfect. Great. I love it. That's great. Azul, what tipped you off? Were you just in the right place, right time? Did you hear something through the grapevine? How did you get in the way?
So sorry, Fraser. I was spacing out for a second. Can you repeat that?
Sure. The how we came to make that deal of ours was when my family they came for my family at the farm, right? And then when I was they probably ambushed me somewhere in town or something, and you got in the way and you saved my life, and then we made a deal saying like, yeah, you can go fuck these guys up for me while I am at the hospital with my daughter, right?
So what tipped me off? I think the way I imagine Azul is that he's well connected within the lowest level of the city. So he has his ear on the ground, so to speak. And I think that probably some drug addict tipped me off, and then I relayed the information.
Cool. So you knew it was going to happen because people were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Love it. Good. Okay, El Narco, last one, right? Because you got one more connection.
One last connection, and that's an easy one. That is, I've taken Mina under my wing.
Okay.
Because I respect her skills and talents, and I want to see them thrive. I mean, this is an investment with the surgeon.
Yeah. So, Mina, you get the sense that, sure, Alejandro, he wants to be the new narco, right? He's come in here. He wants to thank you for your service, but there's like these strings, man, that are gonna come due. How do you feel about that, Mina? Like, how do you feel about the fact that you think this is the beginning of something, not the end of it?
I think that I'm just holding in my savagery right now. Like, I feel like a monk who's taken a vow of celibacy or something to not kill people until my daughter actually passes away. And as soon as that flat line hits, I'm like a straight villain again.
So you're like, that's future Mina's problem. Like, I'm going to deal with that later. Yeah. All right, good. Yeah. Cool. Great. Okay, great. Halcone, last one.
Yeah, the problem is the last one doesn't really fit for a PC, I think. So the last one is someone disapproves of your cartel work and wants to get you out. You're not a Nino, you can handle your own business. But everyone is in the business, so maybe it's a relative also.
I mean, there's no shortage of people who might tell you that you should leave the business who are in the business.
but not to protect me.
Yeah, but we could do an NPC. That sounds good. What kind of person do you think this is that's kind of wrapped up with you?
I think like a girlfriend.
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
it's getting too dangerous. Maybe she heard something. Maybe she's working for El Jefe, and he mentioned my name. And so she told me if I'm longer in the business, I will be dead.
Oh, that's great. I like it. Okay, cool. So we'll say her name is Juanita. No, we already kind of said Juanita for your wife, El Narco.
It could be the same person.
Don't think so.
No, I don't know. We'll see. Let's do Lupita. Okay, so you've got this girlfriend, Lupita. She works at El Narco's house. But she's just like a cook,
a maid or something. Yeah,
yeah. She's a cook. So she you met her when you went there. This is another trope in Mexican fiction: is the employee, the innocent employee, right? Who doesn't really want to know all the details, but is wrapped up in it. So she works for you, El Narco, but she's obviously she knows not to say anything, right? I mean, she knows she's paid very well for being a cook, but she's dating this kind of street rat who she just met at your house, and obviously doesn't say anything to you about it, but she overheard someone saying, "Oh yeah, that fucking Azul, like I'm gonna murder him if he crosses me," and so she told you, "Yeah, you need to get out. Like you need to get out." It's perfect. Love it. All right, Tilda, what's your last one?
That was my last one.
Tilda, the last one for La Polizetta.
Yeah, I think mine is this on the same kind of level. I think it'll have to be an NPC.
Cool.
You read it. You grew up with this person on the streets of Durango. You still have a beer after work if you're both free. It's nice to know someone who isn't involved with either side of your double life.
Yeah, so
maybe someone I went to school with or something.
Yeah, would be great. I think could it be Juanita, your brother, your stepbrother's wife, or your half brother's wife, or do you want to do somebody new?
Well, would they count as being not connected with that side of my life?
Well, you keep that side of your life pretty secret, right? So it could be. I've had it actually be where La Polizetta and La Sicaria don't know that the other one is in the cartel. Like it's all secrets, right? So it's totally cool if you meet Juanita for drinks sometimes, because.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Great.
Yeah. Let's make it. So we went to school together. We were like best friends. And then I moved away to join the police, and I'm not sure if she has like a day job that's kind of a cover. Or whether she just, lunches.
Well, she may not even know anything, right? I mean, like, do you really ask your husband a lot of questions about where he gets his money? So let's actually ask El Narco. El Narco, what does Juanita know, or like, what do you know Juanita knows?
Well, it's she likes jewelry, and she likes horses. I know.
Great.
And I know that she knows a lot about horses, and she knows a lot about jewelry, and I know that she's friends with my half sister. And I don't know what she knows through that source, but through me, we have an agreement that we are a romantic couple, and we have a consultant who is helping our relationship because it went through some valleys recently. But in this, we discussed otherwise I shoot the consultant, no questions about my job. Right?
Okay, great. So it's kind of a Tony Soprano situation. She knows that you do bad things. She has agreed not to ask about those bad things and receives the benefits of them on the side.
Please.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Okay, so yeah, you're not sure what she knows. Probably not much till as far as you know. We'll see.
She doesn't.
So, Fraser, let's hear what's your last connection.
I think it would fit for Tilda, and that would be fucked up something crucial. You had to clean up the mess before things got messy with the La Policia or a rival drug cartel. I'm thinking maybe something to do with Tilda's double life, right? Where I had to kind of step in because they weren't able to, interject themselves because what their facade was their actual life and stuff like that.
Okay, cool, good, yeah. So you stepped in to help out. That sounds great. Cool. Okay, everybody get their analysis in. Are we good?
Yep.
Okay, cool. We have a couple of start of session moves, so let's do those, and then we will come back and get started. So let's start with El Narco. So El Narco, can you read your start of session move, and then we'll take a break.
I have a plaza to run, and so at the beginning of the session, I roll with control. On a hit and so on, we will see. But I will first roll before I get too disappointed. I have control +1, I think, because you start with 0, right? And then you add together whatever you have.
You start with 1, I believe.
Yeah, it's
control.
Default, you have +1 control through your halcones. Yeah.
So you have just the 1.
Didn't get any others.
Oh no, that's right.
Yeah, the other ones all only add to lifestyle.
Yeah, so you are, to be clear, extravagantly wealthy.
Yeah.
Right? Like hugely wealthy.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah. So,
but I wonder if I still have control.
Well, you've got a +1, so let me start with that.
But that looks good. 10 + 1 is 11.
11. Okay.
11
great.
we start with.
Good. Cool.
No opportunity for you.
an opportunity. Well, I mean, it's not that simple. On a 10 plus, I will give you an opportunity to engage one of your troubles, your choice on your terms. Meaning that you tell me which one of your troubles you'd like to address, and I will put an opportunity in front of you, which of course will go very smoothly. There will be no problems. It will be easy to resolve. Yeah.
And these are from the second list, right? So it's either the connection with the Los Federales or the
Yeah,
you've got five.
You've got 5 troubles: rivals, robberies, vigilantes, bodies, and Los Federales. The only one that probably requires a little explanation is in Mexico, it is actually legal to make a vigilante group, like as a citizens police force. So you actually have vigilantes who are trying to like take the law into their own hands and hurt you. And so you can kind of strike back at any of these problems that consistently show up on your doorstep.
Yes, so the trouble, which is really important to fix now, because it will then successively also fill the others, is the kidnapping. This terrible mistake with the niece from the vice president, that I need to fix, because otherwise the police will get extra orders, and that's not the best idea.
Great. So these Los Federales that are on you, you want to have an opportunity to deal with them. That's great. Okay. So La Sicaria, you also have a start of session move. Can you read that for me?
I do.
Sorry, I apologize. La Polizette, you're the one that the start of session move.
Yeah, so let me read that. At the start of session, roll with grit. On a hit, you get wind of a cartel investigation before things get messy. On a 10 plus, you're positioned to take advantage. You've access to vital evidence, witness, or police personnel of your choice. On a miss, the department catches a hot lead on the cartel before you can intervene. So I put my extra +1 into grit. So my grit is +2. So
great.
Roll. I got a 7, so that's a 9.
Perfect. Okay, great. So you get wind of a cartel investigation, like development before things get messy. Great, cool. I will come back. We'll bring that together either as one thing or maybe multiple things. They're pretty closely connected, so they may be one. But let's take 5 minutes and just hit the bathroom, grab some water, whatever, and then we're going to play like a couple really tight scenes, get things moving. But I want you all to pat yourselves in the back. You have established, I have my little like relationship map here. You have established a messy Mexican narco fiction setup that is ready to air on Univision next week with lots of interconnection and drama. So well done. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So Fraser, I have a question about Mina.
Yeah.
So, is it? You said he, him, but it's La Sicaria. So,
It
how
can be
does
either
she
way.
look like? He looks like.
Yeah, I was picturing it as a dude.
Yeah, you're totally free to do La Narca, La Halcon, right? It's just in order to keep the game from just being like, here's 6 male themed playbooks. Like in the art and things, we will pick some of them to be female and some of them to be male.
Yeah.
In fact, what I can do, I will show you guys some cool art that we're gonna do a sneak peek of this art before we actually jump back into the game.
Also, I have like just the smallest of opening scenes ready. Live on the internet.
Live on the internet.
I have my tortillas ready here.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yes, that's perfect. Okay. So, can you guys see that? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
Great.
yes.
Yeah. Cool. So that'll be the playbook image for La Sicaria.
Ooh, awesome.
And yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I also have, and then we'll jump into doing it. Okay. No. Okay, cool. And here's the halcon.
Oh, awesome.
Cool. So yeah, so for each one they'll be themed to like one gender, because again, the gendered language. But yeah, you can play either way. So cool. Okay, so yeah, what's the scene you want to frame, Fraser? Let's talk about that first, then we can circle back to some of the other opening start of session moves as we move forward.
Cool. Yeah, it's just a really short thing. It was. I just picture Mina going to the farm every day, which is like kind of burnt and sundered now, and he like rips down the battered wood and starts building a new house. And every day, like he's got like this cigarette in his mouth that is just like not even being sucked on. It's just sort of hanging there lifelessly all the time. And every day when he's building the house, he keeps looking at the shed, which is a slaughterhouse, his house of death where the weapons are. And then it cuts to like him at the hotel every day, and his daughter's lying there, and you just see the monitor with the like beep, beep, beep.
Cool. Yeah. Great. All right, awesome. So let's open on La Polizetta, and you've been called into this like meeting of 5, 6, 7 important people in the anti-cartel task force. Okay, and you're not like a big center of things, but you get included in stuff, right? And as you walk in, you see that there is a guy sitting in the back of the room, and he's like long hair. He has a beard, and he is a white dude. Like he is straight, like not Mexican. Very obviously, he's wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and he's got these like combat boots on, and he has a briefcase with him, and he's kind of watching this discussion kind of oddly. And as you come in, your boss, like for the most part, everybody that works for the anti-cartel task force, like you have the sense that they work pretty hard. Delgado's actually kind of an oddball. But Moreno, who's the sort of lieutenant in charge of the local branch of this anti-cartel task force, like waves at you when you come in and says, yes, excellent. Tilda, welcome. Thank you. Please have a seat. I'd like you to meet some of the folks here, and I believe that our friend has an update for us on some new information.
Who's the Yankee?
As you sit down at the main table, right, 5, 6 other officers and stuff, he like laughs and says in like perfect Spanish, right? He says like, "Yankee, huh? I thought you would have gone with Gringo or Cuero."
Yankee's not insulting, is it?
I can only disappear so much. Moreno kind of like grimaces and like kind of glares at him, and says, "This is Special Agent Griffin." And you can tell that she's like, that's probably not his real name. This is Special Agent Griffin. He had some information for us about the local cartel activities that we think you will find useful. And Griffin stands up and hits a button on his like little device, and like the like screen comes down in the conference room, and he like, you know, the lights, he motions, and one of the other officers hits the lights, and they you know, you can hear Delgado kind of like settling into his chair, like as if he's like, "Oh yeah, I take a nap now." It's like dark and quiet in here, like, you know, is like ready to like kind of tune out. And Griffin says, "This person," and he puts up a picture of a guy you've never seen before, right? This is, or actually, we'll say it's a woman. Let's see. He puts a picture of a woman. He says, "This is Maria Elena Garza. She is the local operative for the Gulf Cartel," meaning that she is someone who has contact with cartels that are close to the United States. Again, all of this in like flawless Spanish. Recently, she's been talking to this guy. Click, you see a surveillance photo of Azul and his like 2 or 3 like Padilla members having coffee or something, drinks or something with Maria Elena. And Maria Elena is like, she looks like a businesswoman, so she's kind of like head in hand as she's like talking to Azul, who's like, you know, got his like whole gang thing going on, right? And he says, here's the deal. This woman, she works for us. Your guy here, Azul, he is trying to sell drugs to our contact with the Gulf Cartel. I find that charming, but pretty fucking irritating. So here's the deal. Either you deal with this guy, arrest him, put him off this, get him out of here, or the U.S. government may or may not withdraw support for resources here in Durango.
He's trying to sell drugs to your contact?
Yes.
Okay. So you want to pick him up for planning to sell drugs? That seems like a pretty weak case.
I'm not interested in you making a case. I'm interested in you making sure that this guy, whoever he is, what is his name? He like looks as Azul, I guess, right? I want you to make sure he is kept away from her. Right now, she's supposed to be wearing a wire and talking to the head of the Gulf Cartel, and instead, she's here in Durango.
Well, tell her to get the fuck out. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. We will get your job done, but like, manage your contact.
He kind of like is like everybody in the room like looks at you at that moment. Okay, like everybody is like paying attention to the fact that you just told this guy off, and Moreno is like kind of pauses. Okay, so it sounds like you're trying to pressure him to like take some action of his own. Does that check out?
Yeah, that's fair.
Great. Why don't you read pressure someone for me?
So when I pressure someone to go along with my plans or schemes, roll with hustle. On a hit, they see my point. They have to go along with you for now or mark stress. On a 7 and 9, you're both caught up in it. Okay, so my hustle is +1. Roll and see what my mess is like. Okay, I rolled a 7, so that's an 8, so that's our...
Perfect, cool. So you're both caught up in it. Great. So this is a great time to talk about stress. So stress is one of the core mechanics of the game. First thing is everybody should mark 2 stress on your sheet. Being involved in like an international drug trafficking operation, no matter if it's the Sinaloa cartel or the Cetas, means you start with 2 stress marked every session. Okay. You can clear below 2 stress, but you're always going to start with 2. When you mark stress, it's like a resource you can spend. It's a thing I can inflict. Like I said, mark a stress. Usually you're not going to mark more than 1 at a time, right? But the idea is that your stress track is something for you to think about during the game. If it ever gets to 5, there are some bad things that happen. But while it's below 5, you have some options. You can mark stress sometimes to keep from going along with people, avoid some problems, activate some moves. Some different things have a stress marking part. But you can also reduce it by doing what's called a stress move. So you've got some examples like verbally abuse or shame someone you care about, lose yourself in a substance, like do a bunch of drugs, dish out a beat down to someone. And to be clear, dishing out a beat down is not like getting in a fight. It's like beating someone up, like seriously, like Daredevil style in an alley, like repeatedly. You can also confess your sins to a priest if you're interested in, you know, opening up to the Catholic Church about some of your misdeeds. But all of those stress moves have the potential to clear 1 or more stress from your track. If you ever get to 5 stress, there are a couple of things that go wrong. One is you can't mark stress, which means any power or anything that would ask you to mark stress, you don't get that option, right? That option's off the table. At the same time, I can also, as the MC, call for you to make a stress move in a given moment. So I can say, now's the time, and you've got to make it. As long as you keep it below 5, you're not stressed out, and you get to make your own choices. Does that make sense? Cool. So in this case, this gringo coming in, telling you what to do, presenting you with this whole thing, like, why don't like fucking manage your own people, right? Like all of that is very stressful, and all eyes are on you, so you're going to mark your stress. Now he has the option of marking his own stress, but NPCs don't have as much stress. Does that make sense? Like they're like, it's like harm in Apocalypse World. They can only take so much of it. You see them go like, all right, fine, yeah, we will talk to her. It's expensive and time consuming to make contact, but yeah, fine, we'll do it. The more important thing is whatever source of drugs this guy has, you need to make sure that whatever the deal is doesn't go down.
That's
Are we clear?
Fine by me. That's what we're here to do, right?
Yes, that is what you all are here to do. Don't fuck this up. And he like grabs his briefcase, like kind of stretches and adjusts his t-shirt, and he's like, y'all have a good day. And then like heads out. Okay. So so you're kind of like sitting there. Let's cut to some other folks and come back to you when you've kind of put a plan together. Is that cool?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great. So Alejandro, are you the kind of El Narco that would visit at the hospital with Mina while she watches her daughter? Are you concerned about that kind of thing? Do you send people to do it? How are you dealing with this this tragedy that's occurred in your plaza?
I can't.
You what? Sorry, I think we lost you.
Yeah, I just got a second. Yeah, I only missed a second or two. Okay, so no, I mean, with Mina, the idea is to have like emotional leverage if necessary over her. If what I have done is not enough already. So, but because I'm a person who is able to do things by themselves, so I will sure go with her, and then. After we visited her daughter, then it's the time to make a proposal about a good deal she can't reject.
Great, so sounds awesome. So let's start there. So Mina, let's start with you. Like you're in the hospital. Your daughter's the machine is still kind of beeping. It's breathing for her. You're sitting there, and Alejandro, you see him walking down the hallway. Alejandro, do you bring your bodyguards with you?
Yes, they are important because Juan and Pedro are the ones who can tell the surgeon in the end how urgent and how important this one patient is.
Yes, great. Okay, good. So yeah, so you see Juan and Pedro, these two big guys in their suits, and they're kind of cheap suits, like always. Like the goons always have the kind of cheap suits and the tie and all that. What are you wearing? You know, what's your style like again?
It's street clothes. Yeah, street clothes. So I think,
Okay.
yeah, like I think I only have really 2 pairs of clothes, and one is for like working the land, and one is just like going into town. And right now, it's going into town. Where?
Yeah, you've got a button-up shirt that's kind of a rough kind of like, you know, denim or like a khaki kind of thing, or you're casual, right? Like that's great. Okay, cool. So, do you have any weapons on you, Nina? Do you carry weapons? Like, do you carry your 9mm on you?
No, I like the idea of having for me to make the decision to have to go to the slaughterhouse to get a weapon when I need it.
That sounds good. Cool. Yeah. Great. Yeah. So you see him coming down the hall. What do you do?
I stand in front of the door because although I'm grateful that he's paying for it, it feels like it would kind of cheapen my daughter if he were to step inside. And I just like nod at Alejandro and say, I'm grateful for your money, but what are you doing here? I'm trying to pray with my daughter.
So sorry to see how she feels. Hope that she made some progress. Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
I will tell the surgeon. Yeah.
Hold on. So before you respond, is that a real question, right? Meaning, like, are you actually interested in the answer, or are you just making small talk?
Is it me?
Yeah. Like,
sorry. Not really. No. Like I essentially, like, my body language is telling you to like fuck off, right?
Cool. Okay, great. Yeah. So if you were really asking, there's a move called Get the Truth. And the way Get the Truth works is you kind of structure the conversation for this person. Like, you push on them to tell you the truth. If you're not really interested, if you're like, whatever, I don't care, I'm just here to I just want to kind of put him off, that's totally fine too.
Oh, okay. Well, no, that option sounds really interesting now that you bring it up. So let's do that instead.
Yeah, cool. That sounds good. Yeah. I mean, you might want to really know, even though you kind of don't want to know the answer. You want to make sure you're not getting trapped. So why don't you read Get the Truth for me off the basic move sheet?
Okay. Get the truth. When you try to get the truth out of someone, roll with hustle. On a hit, clear 1 stress. On 10+, pick 2. On 7 to 9, pick 1. And my hustle is 0.
Okay.
And I rolled an 8.
Okay, great. So you're going to get to pick one thing he can't do in this conversation. So, for example, if you said, you can't mislead me with the truth, that means he can't say true things that don't tell you the whole truth, right? If you say he can't confuse you with falsehoods, it means he can't lie to you. And if you say you can't stonewall me with silence, it means he can't avoid the topic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, before we start, and this is going to kind of, it's not just like for one thing, it's kind of like for the conversation, right? You can interfere, Alejandro. Like, you can say like, oh, no, I just care about you so much. It kind of snowball him. But that would involve hindering him, like interfering with him. So do you want to interfere, or do you want to accept that he got a mid-level hit?
Well, you only rolled an 8, right? So I could push you down to a 6.
That's correct. You can push him down to a miss. Okay, good. So let's talk about helping or interfering. So when you help or interfere, you're going to wager stress. And what you do is you say, I'm going to wager 1 stress is like, I'm just going to kind of get in your way. 3 stress is like, I'm going to take some major risks. I'm going to really push things. Okay. And what happens is on a 10+, you interfere, you don't pay any costs. You're good. Like, you sort of seize the initiative. On a 7 to 9, you interfere, but you pay those costs. You pay the stress you wagered. On a miss, you pay the stress, and I get to make a move. So how much stress would you like to wager here?
Just 1.
Okay, great. So what does that look like? How are you kind of getting in his way as he asks you what you're doing here?
Well, it's like it's a serious situation here, and so I push all the triggers, like the discussion with the surgeon, and I mean it's a difficult thing to ask somebody for the truth if you don't want to know the truth. If you depend so much on them, the discussion. So I roll.
Yeah.
That's 1.
Yep.
And I get a 4 + 1, 5 only.
All right, great, cool. So I'm going to say that the immediate. So first of all, mark 1 stress. You go up to 3. Your weak hit stands, Fraser. So you're going to clear a stress, and part of that's like in this world, the fact that you have got him to tell you something true is like stabilizing, right? Like something is real, right? And so you're like, cool. You clear 1 stress, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the full hit. So like he's so transparent. Like you can tell that he's immediately up to something, and you can immediately kind of put him. You know that he's here to get something from you. Okay, so which 2 options do you want to take?
I want to do you can't confuse me with falsehoods, and you can't mislead me with the truth, because I think you're a talkative fellow already anyway.
Yeah. Great. Okay, cool. So you can avoid the topic, but you can't say anything false, and you can't say anything short of the full truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get straight out of the hospital. This is not a nice place to talk to. Look how disgusting! What a disgusting color they have put here on the wall.
You would take me away from my last moments with my daughter to discuss some kind of business? Are you serious?
What?
My rosary falls from my hand too.
I just wanted to say it's related, but I have to admit it's actually not.
Great. Are you trying to pressure him to leave? Are you trying to get him out of here?
Yeah, I want to go to the cafeteria of the hospital to discuss business stuff. Come on, you know that I pay here.
Oh, so you're like shaming
me. Listen to me.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so go ahead and pressure him. Yeah, pressure someone to go along with you, just like he did with the CIA guy, right?
Yeah. So I need to roll plus hustle. And I have -1 in hustle.
Yeah, the boss pressuring you doesn't always go over well, right?
No, I roll a 6.
You roll a 6. All right, great, cool. So I'm gonna say you're gonna have to mark a stress here. Everybody's kind of looking at you. Your 2 bodyguards are kind of awkwardly kind of looking back and forth. Like everybody's kind of got their eyes on you, and you feel very exposed and alienated here. And
I shouldn't have said it. It's smelly as well.
Yeah, good, cool. All right, let's cut away from this for a moment. You've La Sicaria has kind of got El Narco where she wants him, and that he's exposed and vulnerable and unable to kind of get you to budge. Let's check out what Azul's doing, and then we'll kind of come back around. Okay, so Azul, so you've been looking for these people who shot up the Sicaria's house and hurt her daughter or hurt his daughter and tried to kill him. Where are you looking?
So I think I know a hitman from the Gulf cartel, and I suspecting them. And I know where the hitman normally hangs out. So I go to the taverna, to the bar where he often hangs out.
Okay, great, cool. Yeah, so the Gulf Cartel has a couple people working in the area, not a ton because it's not their area, but 1 or 2 folks. That sounds good. So you're gonna head over and see what he has to say. That sounds good. So let's make it a woman. So let me say her name is let's go with Raquel. Okay. And do you bring your pandilla with you?
I only take I take Chino.
Okay, great, cool. So you and Chino head over to this bar. You see like kind of the plaza, not like the plaza, but like this little plaza town square kind of thing. Do you have a car, or do you drive over there?
Yeah, I have like a really old, rusty, shitty car, and
Yeah, great.
you know, the last 5 pesos or whatever is in the gasoline, and the meter is on red, obviously.
Yeah, so you pull up in this kind of beat up 1998, 1982 Toyota Camry, whatever it is, right? And the two of you step out, and you see this bar. It's kind of got the saloon doors, and the two of you step in, and it's dark and dusty and smoky. Bartender is pouring tequila shots for these two guys. And the whole area is all people who work in the maquiladora, which is next door, like in the same area. A maquiladora is kind of like a factory. It literally means like a grist mill. It's like where they take things and they turn it from, like they ship leather in and they produce seats for cars, right? And then those seats go back to the U.S. where they're manufactured into stuff. So a lot of the people that are here, women and men who work in these like local factories, and you see. Raquel sitting at the bar by herself, kind of watching people and drinking and watching football on TV.
What kind of reputation does she have? Like, is she super aggressive and?
I think her reputation is probably that she's very professional. So she lives here in Durango, deals with business for the Gulf Cartel, but she hasn't run afoul of the Sinaloa cartel. So she's able to get at least some stuff done. So she's not too messy. But what's your relationship been with her in the past? Have you dealt with her often?
I think it's not really cut. Oh, let's say that maybe she is my contact to the Gulf Cartel.
Yeah, that sounds good. You actually met her as you were kind of exploring your other options. That's cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she probably doesn't think very much of you because you're just this like rando, right? But she's a professional. Yeah. So she sees you coming and nods at you. There's definitely 2 empty seats next to her. Actually, there's probably like 2 empty seats on both sides next to her. She's got like all these tattoos on her shoulders, on her chest, and she looks pretty rough and tumble.
So I think actually I remove my baseball cap out of respect.
You take it off and put it down. That's great.
And put it on the bar, and I say, "Hey, hola, how's it going?"
Hello, Azul. What can I do for you?
I have a question to ask from you, and that is, you know Mina?
I know Mina.
Something terrible happened to him, to his family. It's tragedy, really.
That's too bad.
Sorry, just to interject. I think I actually like that it's a woman, because like all these stories are always about guys. So when people started calling me female, I was kind of like, that's actually more interesting. So if you don't mind, we can pivot back to that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's perfect. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, we'll say
also Mina. So
that's great. Yeah, cool. Totally cool. Yeah. So she says, "I know Mina." Yeah. That's too bad.
I know. It also produces bad blood, really. Like unnecessary aggression, don't you think?
She kind of raises an eyebrow at you, like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Do you have a question for me, Azul?
I have a question for you. Have you heard anything?
Let's make your get the truth roll, right? Because you're trying to get her to tell you what's really going on, right?
It's true. Get the truth is plus
hustle.
Nice. That's my strong suit. I have no grit.
Yeah.
I love a lot of hustle.
Yeah. You're good at like talking to people, getting them to tell you what's up, getting them to go along with you, right?
7 plus cipher 9.
Great. Okay, so you get to pick 1 out of the 3.
Let's see where the
and you clear 1 stress.
Oh, nice. They can't stonewall. She can't stonewall me with silence.
Awesome, good. So she can't avoid the topic. She can lie to you about it, but she can't avoid it. Yeah. She says, "You're asking me if I know who shot up Mina's house, tried to kill her."
Mina is like a big sister to me, and it really hurts me what happened.
And if I tell you, oh, I know who it was these guys, and they're mad about this thing Mina did 5 years ago, you're just going to sit on that.
Well, she's my sister, like a big sister to me, so I might slip the information. If that is not a problem with you, obviously. They're not friends of yours.
What if they are friends of mine? What if it was me?
I think Azul starts to sweat a little bit, puts on his bandana. Well, that would change the whole thing. Obviously, we are close, right?
Me and you.
I mean, I'm close to you, maybe.
Azul, let me give you a tip. I don't think you should be close to anybody. I think you would be wise to stay very far away from anybody involved in this business.
I don't know. I have moves. I have connections. I might not be the best fighter in the town. Obviously, that's you, but I can get things done.
Here's the thing. Let's say it was me. I'm not an idiot, right? I'm not going to go out and shoot up Mina's place without the permission of someone very important.
I read you. So, thanks, Rochelle.
You tell Mina that we're even. Okay.
All right, Rochelle. I tell her. You do you, and stay safe.
I'll be fine. She raises her glass and drinks it and sets it back down. As you're leaving, Chino is like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, what are you gonna do, dude? Like, I can't. Like, what? Like, no, we can't. We cannot go back and tell Mina that it was Raquel. Dude, like, we can't do that.
I didn't know it was her. That was just I was just guessing. I thought she knew.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell her that it was Raquel. Mina's going to lose her shit. She's going to come and kill Raquel. And then when that happens, the Gulf Cartel is going to be like, well, how did she figure out? And Raquel probably going to tell this one other person that, dude, we are fucked. Yeah, so the two of you are sitting in the car, right? Like, kind of like going back and forth about this, right? Let's cut back to the Polizetta and see what she's up to. So everybody's kind of like gathering their stuff up to go, grab Azul, right? And Moreno's like kind of giving people instructions about where to go to look for him. What do you do?
I'm waiting to hear all of the assignments. And when I hear all the assignments, I know where Azul can go. So I'm gonna like text him to meet me at some other place. Right? Oh,
that's great. Okay, cool. Yeah. So why don't we just say like Moreno like kind of divides up the city, right? Okay, we're gonna do an all points bulletin. Get Azul. Here's the different quadrants or whatever, and you and Delgado pick this district, like sort of the northeast. And yeah, are you sort of texting him as you leave the building?
Yeah. I mean, kind of surreptitiously down by my hip kind of thing as I walk, speed texting.
Yeah.
Meet me at such and such a place.
Now, you've actually got Yeah, yeah. You've actually got us one cell phone, right? You don't want to be carrying a second cell phone. That's a pretty obvious tell. But you do have 2 SIM cards.
Sure. So,
right? So
maybe under the table as we're getting the briefing, I'm swapping at the SIM cards and trying to be very careful. Don't drop it, because I know the first thing I do when I get up is texting him.
That's great, cool. So why don't you push your luck here, right? Because you're changing out a SIM card in the middle of a police briefing to make sure you can text it. That's great, I love it. Yeah, go for it.
That is rolling with grit. Okay, I'm good at keeping my cool. Not good at keeping my cool. I rolled a 4, so even with my +2, that is a 6.
That's a miss. Okay, great, cool. So as you're sort of like messing with the SIM card, right, and like trying to get it in, you manage to like get your work SIM card as you're getting your work SIM card out, you break it, like it snaps in half, right? And you're like scrambling to get the other one in there, and you kind of like manage to do it, right, as everybody's standing up. But your own SIM card, your work SIM card, is like totally broken. You won't be able to get calls on your work cell phone as a cop. If they reach out to you, you're not going to have it.
Yeah.
And if you have to go to the department and be like, hey, give me a new cell phone, they're going to have some questions for you, right?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Cool. All right, mark 1 stress. Cool.
Okay.
Delgado's like, hey, what? Like he like kind of wakes up right after kind of dozing off. He's like, hey, what did I miss?
So I'm going. We're splitting up. We're doing a search of the city for this guy Azul. You better take a look at the map for the assignments. I gotta head.
Yeah, so Delgado like kind of turns to look at the map, and you're like out of there, right? Like texting Azul, right? As he like tries to get his bearings. Perfect, good. So what are you texting?
Something. I mean, I guess it's got to be quick, right? Because 140 characters or whatever it is. So it's like, get out of Dodge, meet me at Carolina's Cafe or whatever it is. Someplace we kind of know is in the safe zone.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so it's in the place you are searching, right? Is the idea. Yeah, perfect. I love it. Okay, cool, good. So while you're sitting there in the car with Chino, you get this text from Tilda.
Yeah, I think when the camera goes back to Azul, he's snorting some substance from the dashboard. Checks his phone and says, "Fuck."
Great. So are you trying to lose yourself into substance? Like, are you guys actually getting really, truly high?
Yeah, we're stressed out. Both of us. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's cool. Yeah. So you like open up the glove compartment, like fine. Is this cocaine you thinking? Like
I think speed because it's cheaper.
Yeah, crystal meth, totally. Yeah. So let's do it. Yeah, you're gonna lose. So like, go ahead and lose yourself into substance for our first stress move.
Roll with. Oh my god. Oh hey, it's 9, so it's an 8.
It's an 8. Okay, cool. So on a hit with drugs, you always clear your whole stress track. So if you're willing to do drugs, like they are great. I don't know if you guys know, drugs are great. They're great. There are no consequences. You clear your whole stress track. Ta-da! Done. Right? So like, yeah, you kind of like wait. You and Cheeto are like, oh, thank God we got high. This is so much better, right? But now you have to pick one of these drug moves off the list. So for crystal meth, you can accuse someone of theft or betrayal, push a place you keep towards squalor, or hurt yourself to keep your diablos at bay, right? So doing meth is like a serious thing, right? Like you're a little shaky. So you get this text from Tilda. What do you do? Which drug move do you pick?
I accuse poor Chino. I say, where's the second dose? We had another one. You're not stealing from me. We had two lines. Where's the other line, man?
No, we had 2, man. I did 1 and you did 1. That's all Have.
No, I had a half. I had a half, and the other half was for you, and the second one was for topping up.
No, man,
I'm finished shaking already,
the
man.
fuck are you talking about? No, what the fuck?
I told you to make 2 lines. Half for me, half for you, and then after 5 minutes we do the second. Fucking asshole. How long do we know each other? Let's.
He's like, you know what, man? You're out of control. He gets out of the car because you're driving, right? He gets out of the car. It's like, fuck you, man. I'll see you at home. He shuts the door.
You pendejo. And with what's it called? Like with the wheels turning completely, I rush out of the place.
That's good.
Smoke coming out of the car and everything.
That sounds good. Cool. All right. So back at the hospital, you've the sicarios kind of got the boss in a bad spot here, exposed. Kind of, everybody's looking at you. Nina, what do you say? What do you do?
I think, let me know if this is too weird or whatever, but what I'm thinking is I look at Alejandro and I say, take a good look at me right now. As I am right now, this is not what you need, okay? When my daughter dies, if she dies, I'll go get restitution. And what is left, that's what you need for your work. Whatever broken little spirit, that's the thing that you need. So coming now and talking to me, you're not even talking to the person that you need yet. And I kind of picture that's when my daughter dies and there's an eerie silence, the beep, and I clutch the rosary so hard that the beads fall down on the ground and it just ping pongs there.
Well, let's see. Let's wait to see when the daughter dies. Okay, let's leave that as a play to find out what happens. Thing.
Okay.
But are you shaming him for coming to you on this day when your daughter's so vulnerable, right? This kind of thing.
Yeah, and also both of us, right? He's coming to sort of shame 2 women when he knows perfectly well that what he needs is a broken sicario, right? For what he needs.
Great. Cool, yeah. So go ahead and read verbally abuse or shame.
Yeah, sounds like.
When you verbally abuse or shame someone you care about, roll with face. And
Great.
my face is not so good.
So to be clear, this means you do care about Alejandro.
Yeah, I think that no matter how much I resent Alejandro, helping my daughter survive this long and maybe pulling out, right? Who knows? Maybe she doesn't die.
Yeah.
Is something that I resent how much I care about him, essentially.
Yeah, that's great. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
-1 is 6, 7, 8 is 7.
7. Cool. People can't help or interfere on stress moves, so they're just done. So you clear 1 stress, and your words hit hard. So Alejandro, you have to mark a stress. How much stress do you have?
It's 5, isn't it?
I think it's 5. Yeah. All right. So we'll just leave that there because he just dropped out of the call. So he gets kind of Garrett. You get kind of punched in the face. He's shaming you in front of all these people. She's holding a rosary. You hear the breathing machine. It's just this
Maybe
beep,
maybe
beep.
Even in the break room, my song comes on and starts playing.
Yeah, it's
on a little radio.
The shame of it just hits you, right? And so you have to mark another stress, Garrett. So we'll when we come back, as soon as you kind of get on the call, we'll find out what happens with that. So okay, so Azul and Tilda have connected at the cafe, right? So Tilda, you get there first. I assume you order a beer or do something to kind of try to look normal, right? Among everybody else, right?
Do you think I'm arriving first or Azul?
Yeah, you definitely arrive first. Azul had this whole big fight with Chino and his car barely makes it there. He's kind of a mess. What do you do to look normal when you get there to the cafe?
I'm a bit stressed out, so I'm thinking maybe I'm. First of all, I'll order a beer because I'm looking normal, but then I'm going, well, give me a couple of shots as well.
Great, yeah, it's like 11 a.m. You're ready to go. That sounds good.
So I'm trying to think, like, how do I get out of this whole thing with my police SIM card? Like, obviously, the bottom of a couple of glasses of tequila is going to help me with that.
Right, cool. Yeah, so you have a little bit of time. Like Azul's kind of like meandering there. He's a little high, like he's not really clear about where he's going. So you've got time. Why don't you go ahead and lose yourself into substance here at the bar?
So I think obviously it's alcohol, right?
Yep.
I'm rolling plus. Yeah. I got an 8, so that's a 10.
Cool. Yeah, because you're grit +3.
+2.
+2. Oh yeah, sorry.
I
Cool.
rolled an 8. Yeah.
So you clear your stress track, and for the most part, like you're just riding the buzz, man. Like you've had a couple. Things seem to be clearing up, right? You're good, and that's when you see Azul pull in with his little white 1984 Toyota Camry, belches just smoke out the back, and he climbs out of the car. So Azul, do you look distressed right now?
Well, oddly enough, I have zero stress. So I think I have a little bit of a swag walking because I have the information about Mina, and I'm like all the gears are spinning. How can I make like profit out of it?
Right. Yeah. How can you make the most of this? That's great. Yeah. So you see him kind of sauntering up to your table, and he looks like he's the king of the world, man. Everything's coming up Azul. Yeah, it's looking good.
So I'm like snapping him over. Come on. I don't care what you've done. You got to drop it. You got bigger trouble.
What do you mean, man? I have the perfect plan. I'm on top of this. I tell you something.
Okay, so you know this deal you're cutting with the Gulf cartel?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, drop it.
I already forgot about this. The deal, man. There's also the deal, and there's the I got information, man. So I'll tell you something.
No, I don't think you're following me, Azul. You're trying to ship drugs to the Gulf cartel.
Yeah, right.
You got to.
And I told you to. What?
Yeah, you got to drop it.
Are you crazy? Come on, man. There's like 10,000 we can make. You just have to look the other way. I told you, you and me, like this.
Okay. If you don't drop it, you're going to get picked up, and these guys are going to put two in the back of your head, and that'll be the end of your headache.
Well,
yes. There's a silver lining there for you, right?
All right. Sounds like you're pressuring him to like drop this, right, and let it go. So why don't you make that move, and we'll see. And remember, it's not mind control; like he can resist you, but you sort of put that pressure on him.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm rolling plus hustle. So that's +1. I rolled a 9. So no, sorry, I didn't. My dice are getting mixed up. I rolled a 6. So that is 7. So open to getting interfered with for sure.
Yeah. Do you want to interfere?
Definitely.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So how much stress do you want to wager?
I'm wagering. Interfere is, oh yeah, of course. I'm wagering 3.
Okay, so you made a big scene, right? You're like, oh no, what are you talking about? We're making a lot of money, right? People are like turning and looking, right? Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Oh, it's a 5. It's an 8. So I have to take the stress.
Yeah, you have to pay all that stress, but you do reduce it down below. Right, so you pay 3 stress, and Tilda, you were trying to pressure him, but you came up with a miss. As he's like yelling and kind of like attracting a lot of attention, you see like that a black SUV pull up next to the cafe, and you like immediately are kind of distracted from this conversation by this car, and the window rolls down kind of slowly, and you get a very bad sense from that SUV.
Okay. So I'm gonna kind of get out of the kind of line of sight of that car. Maybe I'm using Azul as cover. Maybe it's not like it instantly looks like exactly what I'm trying to do, but I'm like getting up to leave, and I'm making sure Azul is in between me and this open window.
Are you like, oh fuck it, right? Like you just get up and put your money on the table and try to walk away?
Yeah.
That's great.
So fictionally, I think the way I interfere is I just straight tell him, who's the biggest threat from Gulf Cartel? It's Rochelle. And do you know how we take her out? With Mina, because I have information, man.
So yeah, Tilda, you this bombshell of like I know how to deal with her, right? Like you kind of like look back, and Azul just seems totally ignorant of this SUV, of the window rolling down, of anything. What do you do?
So I guess he's kind of turned around and looking at me as I walk out the door, and he drops the name Rochelle, and I'm going, it catches my interest, but I just kind of point past him towards the open door, and I go, to draw his attention to that, and then I scarp her at the back.
Okay, cool. So you, Azul, you see as Tilda kind of exits the cafe from the back, you look out and you see across the street at this black SUV, and you see something inside, like a glint of something, maybe a camera, maybe a gun, as the window like kind of stares back at you, right? And you hear the football game on the TV, but like for a moment you're like, oh my god, I'm going to die right here, and then it passes, and the SUV window starts to roll back up. And the car drives away.
I'm on top of this game, I guess.
You're like, you pay your bill, like you're ready to go. That's awesome. Good. Yeah. All right. So back in the hospital, the Sicario and El Narco are in the middle of a kind of conflict, and when you last dropped out, Garrett, you had taken another stress, which I believe takes you up to 5.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm on 5 then, yes.
Yeah. So you're at a 5 stress. You're in a vulnerable spot, right? You might want to be thinking about a stress move sooner rather than later. But yeah, you've been sort of shamed in front of all these people that Mina's daughter is still alive, and how dare you kind of come while she's trying to recover, and if you want the Sicaria, she's got to, you want her after her death, all this stuff. So what do you do?
Oh, I missed you again. I'm again.
Sorry, Garrett, can you hear us?
I didn't hear the last 2 sentences. Yeah.
Oh, I just said that like you've been kind of shamed in front of everybody, and the Sicaria has made it clear that she's not willing to do any real work for you until her daughter passes away or recovers or something.
Yeah, and at that moment she was about to die, right? There was the signal was gone.
I think we'll say that we haven't. I don't want to like resolve it too much, like at the 50,000 foot level. So we'll just say that there was a moment where her breathing stopped, and then it started again. So like you get the sense she's very ill. She's clinging to the last threads of life.
But I'm really stressed at the moment. And I know at the cafeteria they don't have anything from what I need now. So I think I need to get out and find a bar, and there's one called La Posada, which is right opposite side of the hospital. And I think I need to go there and get a drink.
That sounds good. Yeah. So you just kind of storm out of here.
Yeah. Don't see you anymore.
Sorry. Do you storm out of the hospital?
I storm out of the hospital. I mean, this is embarrassing. This is terrible. And all my usual tactics don't work here because I'm in the public.
Yeah. Okay, great. So yeah, you storm out of the hospital, heading your bodyguards in tow, heading to the bar, and leaving Mina. Like, you kind of see the shot of like Mina outside her daughter's room as you storm out of the hospital. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mina, do you stay with your daughter and wait? I think we could probably do a scene with you and Azul as Azul tries to put his plan into motion here. Do you want to do that, or is there anything you wanted to do before that?
No, we can fast forward to that for sure.
Okay, cool. And let's see, Tilda, so are you've kind of done your best to alert Azul, but he seems kind of unwilling to listen to you. What are your next steps going to be?
So what I'm doing is I'm kind of covering my ass a little bit. I'm switching back to my police sim. I'm trying to make calls, but it's not working.
Yeah, because it's broken.
Yeah. So then I go to a public payphone, right? I'm not sure if I might have to walk a bit to get to one that works, or maybe go into a shop to use their phone. Something really kind of non SOP, right?
Yeah, totally. So
I'm calling Marino's number.
Moreno's number, yeah.
And saying there's something wrong with my phone, boss. I'm not able to make a call. I spotted Azul. I tried to do some CI stuff with him, and he wasn't playing ball. So I tried to call for backup, and then I had to come to this fucking family grocery store to get you. His last known location is, Carolina's Cafe on, whatever street.
That's great. So why don't we say you leave a message at the station? Like, you don't have Moreno's cell phone number because like that was in the SIM card, right? So you don't have your cell phone, right? So you like make the call to the station and leave a message and all that. And as you're sort of hanging up the phone, you look out the window and you see that sort of like the similar kind of SUV that you saw before, but this time you see Marina Elena, the woman that was in the photographs with Azul, and she's taking like an envelope out of one of the windows, right? And you're just kind of across the street; they don't see you, and she like takes the envelope. The car drives away, and she starts to walk down the street away from the grocery.
Okay. I guess I got to follow her, right?
I mean, you don't have to, right? I mean, this isn't your case, right? You've already called in Azul. You could let El Narco know about this the situation. You could, any number of things. But yeah, if you'd like to follow her, you absolutely can.
Yeah. So here's my kind of professional kind of thinking, right? She is being tasked on the Gulf cartel, right? And I want them to get taken down, or at least get beaten down. So I want her to get away scot-free, go back to her job, take down the Gulf cartel. So I'm just gonna see if how many sides she is playing, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, she's a person of interest for sure. Yeah. So yeah, you duck out of the shop. I think you have a move for this, right?
Yeah, I have the Savagery move. When I follow someone on the street, roll with grit. So that is a 7 straight. So roll a 5 plus 2 is 7.
Great.
On a 7 to 9, I lose them at the last moment. I was probably spotted.
Yeah. So you follow her through the streets. I think we get one of these like nice sort of tracking shots, right? Where you're trying to keep your distance from her a bit. She's walking away from the shop. She takes a turn down down the street, you follow. At one point, she stops, with some fruit at a market or something, and buys something for dinner, or kind of that kind of thing. And you kind of keep your distance. And eventually, you get to a set of apartment buildings where there's like a number of sort of fancy apartments here that she may live at. And as you get closer, you lose her for a moment. You're not sure where she went, but you find yourself outside what looks like a large, fancy apartment building across the street from what looks like to you like an auto shop. And as you look at the apartment, you look at the auto shop, the garage to the auto shop opens, right? And you can kind of like maybe have some distance from it, so you're not immediately exposed. The move doesn't say you're exposed; it just says you're spotted. And you see that there are a number of people bringing things into the auto shop that have like barrels, like they're like bringing barrels around from the alley into the shop. As you kind of peek in, you see that maybe they're making drugs here. You're not sure. Cool.
Okay, well, I guess if they spot me, they might. They're probably going to cause trouble for me if I'm hanging around here, even if I'm not scoping them out. So I'm just going to kind of mark the apartment buildings in my memory and keep walking.
All right, that sounds good. Yeah. So you move on past them, trying not to attract much attention.
Yeah.
That sounds like pushing your luck, right? Like you're trying to avoid any attention from these guys.
Yeah. I got a 9. So pushing my luck is hustle, is it?
Yep.
So that's a 10.
Cool. So if you roll 9, you're good. Like at one point, one of them stops and like kind of looks over at you. You can see he's actually wearing like a bandana across his face. It's one of the skull bandanas. Like it's got like kind of the skeleton jaw on it, and it looks like he's wearing it to avoid the fumes from the chemicals, right? As they bring stuff in, and he kind of looks at you, sure, and then like goes back to like kind of loading stuff into the garage. Cool. All right.
Yeah. So I guess my play is here. I'm not eyeballing him like I would if I was doing proper cop work. I'm just like look right through him and past and keep moving. I'm not doing anything to attract his attention.
Yeah, perfect. I love it. Okay, cool. So Mina and Azul. So Azul, how do you get a hold of Mina to tell her what you found?
Mina, do you think that you gave me your cell phone number when I proposed the deal?
Sure, but alternatively, every morning, like if we're playing around with time anyway, every morning I go to build the house again. What if I'm like putting up boards and you're talking to me while I'm doing it or something?
I don't know if we want to jump that far ahead because like he's the narco's going to the bar, and there's like I don't think we're necessarily at a spot where we want to jump too much. But like in general, I always encourage everybody. Like everybody has each other's phone numbers. It's silly to like run around not interacting, right? So like everybody kind of knows how to get a hold of you. But if you'd like to do a physical scene, certainly coming to the hospital, like he knows you're there, probably, right? So do you want to go straight to the hospital or give her a call first, Azul?
I think I sent a text. Where are you at? That I have like important information. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think maybe getting food, because I don't think I can even afford the cafeteria at the hospital. Probably have to get food somewhere else, right?
Sure. I mean, you've probably got enough to be at the cafeteria, but I think going across the street to like this little taco stand or whatever is cool. Like I think it's the like one time a day you go outside, right? Yeah. So Azul, pulls up at the taco place, gets out. You're standing at a table eating something. Azul, how do you approach me? Are you like agitated still from?
No, I think I'm coming down from the meth, and I'm stressed out. So on the way to the hospital, I'm regretting a couple of decisions I made when I was flying.
That's a good way to put it.
So again, the head is in the hands, turning around, and I'm approaching slowly, and I'm saying, Mina, hi.
Yeah, and I think like I can tell, like I take one look at you and you're all stressed out and sweaty and shit, and I'm just like, bring it down, like you're talking too loud, and just like push a taco over to you and be like, be quiet, basically. What's the news?
So, when we talked about your family and stuff, and I'm really sorry and everything, and I think I have a lead. I mean, I know who did it.
Well, which one is it? You have a lead, or you know who did it?
Well, it was a bit, what's the word, cryptic, but I was talking to, Rochelle,
Mm-hmm.
and she said, I said if she knew something, and she said, what if I did it? And then I said, well, I wouldn't tell anyone, obviously. And then the last thing she said was a bit weird. She said, what if somebody important told someone to do it? And then she said, and now we're even. I should tell you. But I'm not sure if, she was maybe just talking out of her ass. I don't know. But I thought...
she said to tell me that we're even now.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, out of character, do I know anything that she would be referring to other than?
Does anything leap to mind? Like, do you remember having some conflict with the Gulf Cartel, with her in particular, that would prompt this kind of strike against you?
Oh, like when I it could be when I messed up and I killed that woman even.
Yeah.
And like maybe everyone was vying to like kill me, and she put a limb out to protect me or something, and now she's kind of saying like, I'm not going to protect you anymore.
Sure. You're not entirely sure. Like it may be that you've killed a lot of people. You're not sure. You're not sure which one it is, right?
Yeah. It's like a multitude of drops that make an ocean right now. So okay, I'll probably have to speak to her to know the difference. I think her and I go way back. I wouldn't want to cut her short.
Fuck. So, Amina, in what kind of position that would take me? I mean, you either take her out or you don't approach her, because otherwise I'm dead.
Well, she said she relayed a message to you. Obviously, she wants to see me in one fashion or another. Either she's so guilty that she did it that she wants something only I can give her, or she wants to speak to me, maybe.
Well, she didn't say she did it. She said that somebody important told someone to do it, and then it was all very confusing, man.
Mm-hmm. And in your mind, the two options is nothing or death?
Well, if I want to get out of this alive, then yeah. It's either she's dead or I'm dead. And you put me on that way. I mean, I told you I will find the person. I found the person. Can I push a move here? Like,
yeah, you want to pressure her to do this, or are you trying to propose a deal? Are you trying to say, look, do this for me and I will make it worth your time, right? Like, what's your kind of, how are you going to try to put pressure on her?
Yeah. No, well, I would propose a deal because that's what I do.
Yeah.
So I have this thing going on, and with a golf cartel, and I have the police on my side and everything. It's tight. It's airtight. It's just we need to reduce the muscle on their side a little bit.
Mm.
So you're basically saying like, I will pay you in addition to you getting revenge for your family. I will make sure that there is some money that comes your way if Rochelle is dealt with.
That's the deal.
Great. Go ahead and roll with face. Like you've put a deal out on the table. We'll see what Mina's reaction is to it.
Oops. It's a 7.
It's a 7. Okay. Okay, cool. So on a 7, they could choose one. Number 1, you could declaim authority for accepting the offer, meaning like, I can't do that. They're like somebody else. There's a boss, somebody else that would do that. 2 is you could adjust the price plus your 20% and accept. So basically, you could say, I'll do it, but for more money than you're offering. Or they could point you at somebody else who's an interested party.
How about I don't want your money. If I do this for you, then you and I are even too. You saved my life, right? So
cool. Okay. So you're adjusting the price. That sounds good. Cool.
Yeah. A life for a life, right? So you better be sure, basically, right? Because I mean.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. She told me in so many words. I mean, it's
Yeah. Well, I'm adjudicating responsibility for this then.
All right, cool, good. All right, so Garrett, back to you. So meanwhile, you and your bodyguards are at the bar. The bodyguards, of course, aren't drinking; they're keeping an eye on you. But you are into it. What is El Narco's drink of choice?
Drinking might not be sufficient here. But, at the moment, I have to do what I have to do before I can get something. Because I wasn't expecting to celebrate something or to indulge into my pain here. So, I have a certain red rum. You drink it when you have pain, like blood coming out of of every muscle.
Good. Yes, very dramatic. So go ahead and make your move. Lose yourself in the substance.
Yeah, that's not the best choice I have for releasing stress, but it's the one I have at hand at the moment. So 9 plus 0 is 9.
Great,
Does
cool.
not take a toll.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to choose one of the moves off the alcohol list, but you're otherwise you're good. Like you clear your stress as you put a few drinks into you, and generally like this takes some time, right? So it's like 30 minutes, an hour later, you've ordered a few drinks. Your bodyguard's standing at the door watching you. You're drinking alone, right? Like maybe texting on your phone or doing whatever you do when you're sort of idle. Which of those 3 options are you gonna take? Are you gonna let someone know what you think, let something slip to the wrong person, or wreck something meaningful carelessly?
Yeah. I'm wondering if I know who has done this terrible thing to Mina's family, if I actually know.
Do you know? I mean, one of the things that Rochelle was kind of saying was that she doesn't actually work for you, meaning that if she did this, then she would put herself at a lot of risk unless you said okay to it. Did you say okay to it?
I didn't say okay to it, but I let it happen because my Tio was behind it.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, cool. Yeah, so you know who was behind it, and you let it happen, and if it works out in your favor, great, right? But you know. So what do you do?
A little text message should suffice.
Who are you going to text?
I'm texting Mina directly because, I mean, she has brought me in this fucked up situation. I wasn't supposed to be embarrassed like this ever in my life.
Yeah.
I know she can handle the cruel truth if she likes to. And I tell her right in the same message, because I'm a little bit over the top at the moment, but I will throw a party tonight at my mansion. And everybody's invited. All of her friends, and she can come if she wants to talk this out. Everybody will be there.
Okay, great. And so are you choosing to let something slip to the wrong person?
Yes.
Okay, and what is the thing you're letting slip?
Noah's done it. And then it is. Like my tear is behind it.
Oh, okay. So you actually tell Mina outright that you know who did it.
Yes, and then we tell her at a party tonight at my place.
Oh, you're going to tell her later. I see.
At the party, she will get to know. I tell her, yeah.
Okay, so you just let slip that you know and you're willing to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay, great, cool, yeah. So Mina, as you and Azul are discussing this, you get a message and you flip it over, and it's this kind of rambly text from El Narco, like, if you want to know the truth, I can talk with you about it. Come tonight to my place. We'll talk. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Everyone's so helpful now. Like, can I just leave it open? Like, maybe I show up, maybe I don't?
Yeah, of course. What do you do right now?
Oh, right now? I think I go to my farm to get some weapons because I have to take out Rochelle. The only thing that is in the way a little bit is that my vow of not killing anyone until my child dies. So we'll see.
We'll see. Great, cool. So let's cut to the Polizetta. So you come back to the station, I would assume, right? And and you've kind of scoped out this place where Marina Elena may have disappeared, into the apartment, into the auto shop. You're not sure. What do you do next?
I guess I head back to the squad room. I'm assuming everyone is out, but I gotta check. You never know. And then maybe something. Well, tell. God, I don't even have a phone Marino can contact me at.
Well, why don't you, when you come back to the squad room, Marino's there, like waiting for you in the hall.
Okay.
It's like, what the fuck? Like immediately, like you walk in, he's like, what you had, Azul? You talked, like my assistant says you did what?
I was trying to find out what the source was, right? Because this guy is small time. He's not sourcing these drugs, himself. There's a bigger fish. And so I said, well, I said, hey, I'm gonna go out back and have a smoke, and I try to call you to get backup. I mean, this guy is a hard nut, and he's got a friend or two out in the car. I'm not going to take him by myself, right?
All right, why don't you justify your behavior? So go ahead and justify your behavior. It's perfect for this, right? Like you're spinning this story about, right? Whether the story is true or not doesn't matter as much as whether the person believes that it's what happened.
When I tried to justify my abnormal behavior with face, on a 10 to plus, they'll accept my logic. I don't think that's going to be a problem. On a 7 to 9, they have doubts, but let it slide. Okay. So my face is 0. I got 4.
Oh no. Okay, cool. So Moreno says, yeah, okay. You don't want to take the punk kid by yourself. You're concerned for your safety.
Well, you know me, boss. I'm not like the most gung-ho of your people, right? I'll deal with the hustle. I'll deal with the staying cool, but like pulling a gun in a cafe at 11 o'clock in the morning, there's other people in there. I'm not even sure I'm going to survive that situation.
Moreno like steps up close to you, and you see her kind of almost like subconsciously put her hand towards her gun. She says in kind of a low voice, I've been looking through your records. Just been wondering why such a accomplished young officer would struggle so much here. And
struggling? Am I struggling?
Ortiz seems to think you're struggling. Ortiz has this crazy theory. You know, he says that he dug up some stuff and you know, birth certificates, things like that. Maybe some things that went missing. Maybe some things that got buried. And in those things, he says that he's seen evidence that maybe you and Alejandro Reyes, maybe you know each other.
Boss, okay, I made a bad call. Let's go find this Azul guy. I can pick him up.
Azul's he's the least of it, man. He's the least of it. And she's like getting really close to you now, right? Like she's like right up in your face. And she's like,
I tell you what, boss. Okay, let's forget Azul. Let's go right to the heart of this thing, right? This CIA contact who's undercover with the Gulf Cartel, I'm not sure everything here is on the level. I saw her take an envelope out of an unmarked black SUV in that neighborhood. I didn't get a great look. Well, maybe I did get a great look at the person who passed her the envelope. What do you think, boss?
What are you talking about? Like, what? You saying the CIA is up to something? You're saying that this is all not real? You're saying Azul's not really the focus here?
I don't know. But, let's do our job. Let's pick up this Azul guy and forget all this CIA bullshit.
All right, so I think you're pushing your luck here, right? You're like desperately grasping at straws, trying to get her to back off these Ortiz's suspicions.
The muddier this water, the better, right?
Okay, yeah, go for it. Yeah, so roll to push your luck. Roll with grit.
Okay. I got a 7, so it's a 9 with grit.
Okay, cool. So things don't work out like you hope. The MC will tell you how you can turn things around if you act quickly, make an ugly choice, or tough it out. And she says, all right, fine. Here's the deal. Delgado's no longer your partner. I just busted him down. Ortiz is your new partner, and the two of you are going to go pick up Azul, and you're going to figure out what the fuck is going on with this Maria Elena CIA contact bullshit, and you're going to get to the bottom of this. And if all of that goes smoothly, then maybe I take the full moon that Ortiz left on my desk, and I just put it in the drawer, and I don't look at it too closely.
Sure. Let's do that.
Great. And she like backs up off you and yells into the room, Ortiz, your new partner and you have an assignment. Go fucking do it. And like walks inside the squadron. Cool?
Okay.
Okay, great. So we cut to the Sicaria like opening up the, it's nighttime now, right? Opening up the door to the slaughterhouse, right? Like lifting up the tarp. What else is in there? Like what else is in the room?
Well, I think there's a normal set of butchering tools that is like rusty and all that kind of action. And yeah. I roll that out and then I flip it up and then all the guns and shit are underneath there, right? And then I take my other tools.
That's great. Yeah. All right. So Garrett, did you think you were going to invite Rochelle to this party at your place?
Did I intend what?
Did you think you were going to invite Rochelle to this party? Is that the kind of thing it is where you're going to have her come as well and tell Mina that so that this all kind of happens at one place, or are you figuring you're going to let Rochelle? Okay, you like that? All right, great, cool.
Yes, I want that shot. I need some blood in my horse to restore my honor. The more blood, the better for my honor.
That's great. Okay, cool. So why don't we frame that? So Azul, you and El Narco, like he doesn't completely trust you, but you have word that all of this is going to go down, and you of course want to be there to see it, right? Like you want to verify that that's where that it's done, right? And Mina, you of course want to actually get Rochelle, right? So let's open up on this party. So do you have the kind of typical narco mansion, Garrett? Is it like you have the narco texture house?
It's a nice mansion. I hate the color because it's by the old narco.
Yeah.
It is greenish, and it has a helicopter landing field. But there's no helicopter landing today. This is because there's the cocktail bar is over there, and I have a jacuzzi, an extra large jacuzzi, and this is where I usually hang out because I have a very well trained body.
Yeah, right. And you're extravagantly wealthy, right? Like you are very, very wealthy. And so yeah, there's sort of a line of cars, and I think we'll open with the Mina, you parking your truck or whatever nearby and getting out of the car with Azul, right? The two of you coming up to the party, hoping to find Rochelle here. So what does that look like? How do you carry stuff? Do you like put it on you? What are you doing as you kind of get out of the car?
Yeah, I'm dressed in, I don't know, it'd be sort of like a cheap sundress, and then the things that I have hidden are probably just the small things, like knives and 9mm, and that's probably it.
That's great. Yeah. Okay, cool. And Azul, did you bring your pandillo with you as well, or is it just you?
I don't think I dare bring anyone to El Jefe. I think that I tried to score drugs before I went to calm my nerves, but that's it.
Okay, cool. That sounds good. So yeah, the two of you, the Sicaria and the Halcone, get out of the truck, and you see that like kind of at the top of the hill is this like fantastic party. There's lights, there's all this stuff, and the two of you start to walk in silence up that direction. Parking behind you, like maybe even already there, is Ortiz and Tilda, right? Who are like watching you walk up into the house. Ortiz says, "Okay, so what's the plan?"
So this to me looks like big fucking deal, right? This is that what's her face? That Sicaria from a few years back who went on that rampage of vengeance. Remember, she was on the list for a while, and then she kind of retired or something.
Yeah. Do you want to try to pick up Azul now, or do you want to wait?
Well, this is what I'm saying. If Azul is walking in with this woman, this is gonna be, I don't know, trouble. So
that sounds like
your game.
Well, it sounds like you're trying to justify your behavior. Like let's let it go. Like why? Like she's super dangerous. We'll just let it go, right? It seems to me like you're kind of putting that out there.
Now, if you're game, I'm game. I'll walk up to him, I'll call him over, and then we'll snag him and leave all of that trouble inside those gates. So right. I'm like reaching for the door, and I'm going. And I'm going, are you in?
Go. Okay. Yeah. Ortiz is like, yeah. Ortiz is like this, like he's got like the cop goatee, right? Like he's, his hair's pulled back, like he's got his suit on, like he's ready to go. Like, fuck it. Yeah, let's do it. Right. And he like grabs the door, and like the two of you start to approach the two of them. That sounds great.
Okay. So I just call out, hey, Azul.
So Azul, as the two of you walk up towards the gates, right? You hear Tilda from behind you call your name. What do you do?
I turn around and I'm looking for Delgado. Who's next to Tilda?
Oh yeah, it's this guy you've never fucking seen him before. Like he's got like black hair, it's slicked back. He's got a goatee, and he does have his like he looks like he's got his jacket open, like he can get out his gun anytime.
Oh, that's trouble. If Delgado's not there, that guy's a loser. But the goatee dude, I'm staying here where I am. I wave.
Wave at a distance, yeah. Mina, you see if you look backwards, you see these two guys who look like, one Tilda and this guy who he pretty clearly looks like a cop. You know that Tilda's a cop. What do you do?
I think I'd like to read a charge situation.
With Mirage, that sounds great. Yeah, roll it.
Okay, that's Savagery +2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. Ask 1. I think what makes most sense is what should I be on the lookout for? Like I'm trying to figure out what their game plan is or whatever they're up to.
Yeah, that sounds good. So the first thing is they're pretty clearly not paying attention to you, or like you don't seem to be their focus. So what you should be on the lookout for here is that they like at least Ortiz is armed, like he's pretty clearly armed, and they are interested in Azul.
I think I'm out there. I pretty much have like a singular mission here where I'm like, I need to get the truth, and that supersedes, even Azul in jail for a day or whatever, right?
Yeah. So you just sort of like start to step back and away from him?
Yeah, like I think Azul turns and I like do like a head tilt and then I just continue on and like do the Assassin's Creed mingle.
It's great. Yeah. So you kind of like head towards the crowd. So Azul, as you look back and wave, when you turn back, you see Mina's already 4 or 5 steps in front of you, and you hear Ortiz say, "Azul, don't fucking do it, man. Just be cool." And you see him like reach into his jacket. What do you do?
I'm going to flee from the Federales.
All right, that sounds great. Cool. This is our first heat move, right? So the way heat works is a little different than the other stats. A 10 plus is bad, a miss is good. So it's a reverse, right? And that's because heat goes up. +2, +3, +4 is worse than -2, -3, right? So it's the same exact structure, but you want to roll low, basically. So yeah, you're fleeing. You're just taking off into the darkness to try to evade them, right?
Right.
Great.
So 2d6 and lower is better.
That's right. And you're going to add your heat score, which is 1 for you, right?
Yeah, I have a 9.
You have a 9. Oh, not good. You can escape the authorities by sacrificing something illegal or valuable. The MC will tell you what your freedom will cost you at this time, right? What are you carrying? Do you have anything on you that's immediately illegal or valuable? You're not carrying a bunch of drugs, right? You're not carrying anything like that. So I'm going to say you could probably get away if you drop your burner phone, right? And just sort of like give them something that they can pick up and deal with later.
That could work. I make another proposal and you say
Sure.
that it's cool. So they actually get me. So they like get hold of me, and I read someone out that is valuable information, and then they let me go.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, where you're just like, well, fucking Mina's here to kill some people,
Yeah, I actually think that's cool. Like if you say like hey, like they don't actually grab you because you didn't roll a 10 plus, but you say like she's here to kill somebody, like she's fucking crazy, right? Like she's gonna kill everybody, right? And Ortiz is like, oh god damn it, right? And like it's like goes that direction instead of following you. Is that cool?
Yeah. Awesome. So I run away and shout behind me. She's crazy.
Yeah, that sounds great. Cool. All right. So, Alejandro, are you greeting people as they come in the door? I'm not sure you can hear us. All right. So let's.
I was
do
done
this.
for a second. Yeah, I listened to the rest. Yeah.
Yeah. So, are you greeting people as they come in? Where are you as this party gets underway?
Wait. There's somebody running. Oh, there I'm again. I'm back again. Back and forth. Sorry. But Azul was running away from us again.
Yeah, so he basically ran down the street. So most people didn't see it, right? And the cops didn't open fire or anything. And part of what he did was he just directed them to follow Mina. So Mina's now like Assassin's Creed her way through the crowd to try to get close to Rochelle, right? And the cops, at least Ortiz, is pursuing her. Tilda, are you going with Ortiz? Like, are you trying to play it cool?
Yeah, so my only kind of comment there is when he like turns away from Azul, I got, oh, wait a minute. So like leaving him go and treating him like a CI is okay with you now, Ortiz? I mean, yeah. I thought I was getting busted for this kind of shit earlier, but now when you do it, it's okay.
So yeah, are you just giving him shit, or are you?
I'm just busting his balls, like.
Yeah, then that's shaming him, right? You're trying to shame him for like, oh yeah, who's the big cop now, right? Blah blah blah. So yeah, go ahead and make the move.
I got a 9. What do I shame with?
Face.
Face. So that's just a 9.
Cool. So on a 7-9, you clear a stress, and you see him kind of grimace, and he's like, "Dude, I'm just trying to fucking keep people alive, okay? CIA can blow me. I don't care. Let's go." Right? And he pulls out his gun, and he like starts to move towards the crowd, right?
Okay.
So. El Narco, are you greeting people as they come in? Where are you in the party? Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to get him. So okay, so Fraser, you're as you kind of come through the crowd, you see that Rochelle. There's like a little staircase that goes up to like what do you call it? I don't want to call it a gazebo.
Terrace?
Like a terrace, right? It's got all these lights on it, and you see Juanita like greeting people as they come up, and there's this big party, right? And there's a band, and you hear the sort of the trumpets and the mariachi music, right? And as Ortiz and Tilda finally kind of get to the crowd, you don't know if you've seen them yet, right? You spot Rochelle, and she's like got her arms crossed, and she's standing next to Maria Elena, and the two of them are kind of like waiting in line to talk to Juanita. What do you do?
I think I do the like man on fire walk to her, deliberately provoking her attention, and I think whether it's like true or not, I'll like when I see the whites of her eyes, I will know if she has done this thing or not, right?
Yeah, you want to know, you want to ask, do you want to say anything, or do you just feel like you're gonna know as best you can?
Yeah, I think I'll just know as best I can. Like, I think if she's like got the fear of God in her when I'm coming at her, right? I'll just like the hubris of knowing is what I'll have, right? Like whether it's true or not.
Do you want to size her up? Like, do you want to kind of know? Yeah, cool. That sounds good.
Size up somebody with savagery. Cool. Yeah, and I'm just like walking very intensely at her to provoke the reaction. So that is gonna be for only a 6. Can I burn 1 stress to get 7?
Nope. That's it. It's a miss.
Okay.
So, I mean, if somebody can help you, right? So, like, for example, if El Narco wanted to help you as you approach, then that would be something he could do.
Yeah, I'm ready to help you.
We already established that Juanita was greeting people as they came up the stairs. You could also be greeting them. How would you help her size up Rochelle?
My bodyguards are suddenly left and right, and they will also, at least when they follow my command, they will later care for her.
They'll do what?
If I don't get to Mina through her daughter, then through her worst enemy.
Yeah, great, cool. Yeah, so they buy you some time, I think is the idea. So how much stress do you want to wager here, El Narco?
I'm totally drunk still, so I waited 2 stress because I can't go much worse here.
Still wailed.
Yeah, go for it.
It's 11 plus 2 is 13.
Wow. Okay, cool. So that gets you that +1 you need to make it a 7. Which question do you want to ask?
Let's see.
Is it what do you wish I'd do?
I think that makes the most sense, hey?
Yeah. I think her attitude is like you look at her and she like looks back at you and you can see that she's like totally guilty. She totally fucking did it. She totally did exactly what she was told, and you get this sense that she kind of wants you to bring it. She wants this to be over one way or the other. What do you do?
I think I tried to subvert her expectations at first by embracing her in a hug, but my hand has a knife in it.
So you just walk up and just like bam right into her side, like when
yeah,
she's
but for the camera audience is like, oh, she's forgiven. They're hugging, and then like actually the knife is like in her heart.
Yeah, that's great. Turn to violence. That sounds great.
Yeah, turn to violence. Oh, savagery again. That makes sense. Okay. 3, 5, 7. I guess I'm barely there again.
7. This time I push you down.
Yeah. All right, great. Yeah. What do you do? What do you do to interfere as she gets close to Rochelle?
My bodyguards are there to protect Michelle. Because
plot twist.
You will. What I want is that you only see her again when she's in my torture chamber.
There you go. Great. So Narco has plans. So go ahead. How much stress are you wagering this time on Narco?
Oh, this is a lot of stress because it will also ruin my party if it goes wrong. So it's 3 points stressing.
Great. Yeah. So his bodyguards actually he directs them to move to intercept you, right? Yeah. So go for it.
It's 4 plus 3. I barely make it a 7.
Okay, but you do succeed in interfering, and she's done, So the first bodyguard, like as you're going by, he catches your hand, Mina, and you're with the knife still in it, right? And he's like, shakes his head, and you look at him, and then you look back, and Rochelle has a gun out.
Oh shit!
Right, pointed right at your chest. Everybody in the party is like frozen. Right?
Yeah.
And she's got the gun out. Ortiz and Tilda are like pushing their way through the crowd. You hear like some screams as people see the gun and start to run away. So Tilda, you and Ortiz are going to be there in just a second. What do you do? Mina?
I guess I'm pulling out my piece, and we are. We should announce ourselves, right? It's Los Federales. Everyone get the fuck down.
That's great. Yeah. So you coming in, right? Like you and Ortiz have your guns out. Everybody's getting down, and like Rochelle just is looking right at you, right? And she says like, he knows. He always knew. He said okay. What do you do, Mina?
He said okay. Jeez, that kind of makes me want to I feel like maybe the bodyguards squeeze my hand so the knife drops or whatever.
That's great.
They think that I'm like all helpless and weak, and that's when I kind of like smile and draw the 9mm and want to take out El Jefe here.
That's great. Okay, cool. Yeah. So you like the knife drops the ground and sticks in, and you just pull out the gun and just like up the stairs shoot El Jefe.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Make your move. Turn to violence.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 9, 10, 11.
11. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
El Jefe, would you like to interfere?
I bet you would.
I already have 3 stress, so I risk my last 2 stress to try to interfere here. Yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah, I see you just take cover as best you can, right?
I throw myself in between.
So.
Oh, that's a 2 plus 2. I only rolled a 4. I don't intervene, and it's a disaster for myself.
Okay, great, cool. So you have a 4.
Can I try to interfere?
You could try to interfere as well, yeah, if you want. Only one person can successfully interfere. But go ahead and give it a shot. How much stress are you going to wager?
I'm on 0, so I'm going to wager
Cool.
I rolled a 2 as well.
It must be the Lord's will, really.
Yeah. So yeah, you try to like you get your gun out. You try to like get in Mina's way, right? And like you the crowd kind of like pushes you back, right? And you kind of like get knocked down. And Ortiz like looks away and like is trying to help you up, right? And the two of you are at a big disadvantage here. Like you're both kind of exposed and vulnerable. And you lose your gun, like till they like it gets trampled under other people as you go. So you're actually unarmed. So yeah, you get your 11. Pick your options.
Is it possible to inflict harm twice?
What do you mean by inflict harm twice?
Like choose you inflict terrible harm twice.
No, but you can choose inflict terrible harm, and then if you resist marking stress, you don't have to mark stress, otherwise you do, and then avoid collateral damage means that you don't hurt anybody besides your target.
Yeah, so I'll do inflict terrible harm, suffer little harm, and avoid collateral damage. I've got a full stress track, so I should do.
That's great, cool. So mark your stress, and you just shoot El Jefe like bam, 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 right? And like one of his bodyguards gets out a gun, and you just sort of like step backwards out of the way of the bullets, right? Like there's this whole gunfight. You're unharmed, like you're just very untouched. So El Jefe, I think this will probably be one of our last moves for tonight as we kind of wrap. This is perfect. Like El Jefe, you need to make the move that's on your playbook called when you get fucking shot, right? Because there's no harm track in this game. Getting shot is what really counts. Other physical violence can inflict stress, but only getting shot really counts for something big. So here's the thing. Is it a handgun or other small weapon? It is, so you get a +1 for that. That's great. Is the shooter an amateur or is it really trying to kill you? No, she is not an amateur, and she is definitely trying to kill you. Do you have cover, body armor, or a bodyguard? You don't, because your bodyguards are down below messing with things, right? You realize that you've left yourself very exposed. So you just have the +1. So go ahead and roll it.
6 + 1, 7.
7. Okay, on a 7, you choose one and the shooter chooses one. So pick one of those options.
It's bloody.
You'll die without immediate aid. Okay. At next, shooter, you get to pick one as well.
I think it's messy, just because I have surgical precision, so I just know where to put it.
That's great. Cool. Yeah. So you see him like kind of like grab onto the terrace and start to like he's like holding in, and you see that he's got at least one that like went into his jaw, and it's just like there's just blood everywhere as he like kind of holds himself up by the terrace, right? Yeah, Mina, what do you do? What do you do next? You got these two bodyguards. Rochelle still has her gun. She's confused for a moment.
Yeah, Rochelle.
Is it time for you to flee?
I don't think so. I think I need to make sure that he's dead.
Yeah,
I think I just keep power like John Wick moving through the nightclub.
Yeah. So you're just like walking up. So one of the bodyguards gets his gun and starts shooting at you. What do you do?
I shoot him first in the head.
Okay, yeah. Turn to violence against him. That's great. Yeah, turn to violence against him.
Yeah, another 11.
Okay,
6
cool.
and a 3.
So yeah, you just assume you pick terrible harm.
Yeah.
Are you gonna choose resist stress, avoid collateral damage? What are you doing?
Little harm and collateral damage as well. Like I want it to be the inverse of when I fucked up and killed those.
Yeah, it's all like super.
People.
Yeah, it's all like super. Yeah, it's very beautiful. Yeah, so you're just like blam, 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 right? Like John Wick said, you grab his gun, like and shoot him in the head, right? He drops, right?
Yeah.
And you just march up the stairs. So Tilda, Ortiz has you kind of up. You've lost your gun. You see that El Narco is like been shot. He's bleeding. Mina's walking towards him. What do you do?
I'm pointing at Mina, telling Ortiz, "You better stop her. I've got to get my gun." There's no way I can like take her on physically, right? She's a fucking assassin. I at least need to shoot her in the back.
Yeah.
So I need to get, or maybe I just give up. I grab Ortiz's gun.
Oh, you just take his gun away from him?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Why don't you push your luck on that? See if you can grab the gun away from him and get a shot in.
Okay. We have made a terrible mistake. I got a 7.
Okay, cool. So,
yes.
So here's the thing. You can get the gun away from him, but you're probably going to have to like knock him out or attack him in order to get it. Does that make sense? Like if you just grab it from him, he's not going to give it to you. Like he's a trained police officer. But if you grab it and kind of like wrestle it away from him, then you can do it.
I wonder if like there's something I can maybe just grab it and then like elbow into his body and maybe shove him into the pool or something like that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you like kind of knock him down the hill, take the gun, and like get up. You're totally exposed here, right? Like get ready for the shot. That's awesome. All right, so go ahead, turn to violence against Mina while she walks up the stairs to the defenseless El Narco.
Yeah. Now, because I declared myself a federales, I got to roll with grit instead of something.
You're good.
Okay,
you're
cool.
good. Yeah.
So I get a 6, so that's an 8.
8, cool. Do you try to interfere, Mina?
Yeah, we'll do that.
You take some cover. Cool. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
How much stress are you wagering?
2.
Okay.
I'll wait for 2. So does that mean I roll +2?
You roll +2.
Okay. 4, 7, 9. I guess I really like 9s.
Okay, cool. So you pay the whole stress. So what does that bring you up to? 4, 5?
I used 1, so that would be 3.
3, cool. 3. Okay, so that does drop you to 6. So you open fire on that area, and you actually shoot Juanita. Like she's trying to come over to help, and like the bullets just kind of whiz, and you see she gets shot in the shoulder, Mina, and falls over as La Polizeta's bullets kind of rain down on that area. As you try to reload and get closer to the you hit the top of the stairs, right? And there's El Narco, right? He's bleeding out, right? Do you say anything, El Narco? Are you?
Well, if I still have some last words, then
of course, definitely. Yeah. What do you say?
Unfortunately, I'm on 5 stress. That means they are the only words I can spit out are verbal abuses and shaming of Mina, which is totally fine because what I have to tell her is that her daughter is dead at the very moment now.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. You're here with me. You're here killing me. Your daughter is dying, right? She's probably already dead, right? Yeah, I love it. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, make the move.
I roll plus face and it's an 11.
Okay.
There you go. So you clear your stress track. It's totally clear. Sorry. You just clear 1 stress. You clear 1 stress. No, I was wrong. Sorry. Clear your stress track. 10 plus clear stress.
I clear my stress track.
Yeah.
And now I could also say something else, but it might be too late.
And
it might be too late.
You're going to mark 1 stress, you feel this weight, you think about it, your daughter could die any moment, and you're here killing him, right? Not there with her. And do you shoot him again?
I imagine he keeps backing away from me on this higher up terrace, and I keep going towards you, and then I say something really cheesy, I kill with my heart, and then I kick you in the solar plex to send you careening off the edge.
All right, great. Oh, yeah. So he falls down. You're not sure if he's alive or dead, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. As you do that, you see that Rochelle has just run away. Like she just like hightailed it out of there. The Polizette is reloading his gun, right? Like putting a new clip in and coming closer to you, Tilda. Like, what are you doing?
I'm just dropping the gun and I'm like running up to Juanita.
Oh, nice.
Great.
Like she's my best friend. I can't believe I shot her. Right.
Yeah. So you're running good. And Mina, what do you do? Are you hightailing it out of here now?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to like follow the crowd, and I don't know how I would have. I have the idea to use the police uniform, but I'm not sure how that would happen. But maybe I just try to make it out in the crowd.
Yeah, I think so. So it sounds to me like you're trying to leave a messy crime scene. You're trying to leave before the authorities arrive, right?
That sounds a little too on point.
Yeah. So why don't you roll with heat?
Okay. Heat is 0. 7.
7. Cool. All right. The authorities respond before you can fully exit the scene, but they're isolated or unprepared for what they find. So as you make it back to your truck, right, you see a couple of police cars coming up. There's regular police. They're not the Federales or anything. So Azul, did you circle back around to the truck? Did you take off? Where did you go?
I think I went to Lupita to warn her that shit is hitting the fan.
Yeah,
and
great.
Should get out.
Cool. So she probably came with you, right? The two of you are waiting at the truck, right? And as you see Mina come in, she's covered in blood, right? Like she's like shooting people point blank range, and she's covered in blood. But you get in the truck, and like as long as you're willing to push your luck and just speed out of here, Mina, you're good.
Yeah, I think I'm good with that. At first, I was like, I have a grenade launcher, but no, not these people. These people
Poor police officers just show up. Yeah. Go roll it.
Okay, push my luck is grit. Grit is +1. 10.
10. Awesome. Good. So yeah, as the cops sort of like pull in, your truck just sort of like blazes past them into the night. And Azul and Lupita and Mina are kind of like, you hear there's like this silence, and Lupita reaches out and turns on the radio, and it's your song, right? That kind of plays as we drive back to the hospital. So cool. Let's cut it there. There's a lot of like unknowns. Did El Narco live or die? Was the Polizette exposed? Like all these kinds of things would be questions to answer next session. For now, I think that's a good place to stop. Yeah, next week on Cartel, right? Exactly. Good. So let's do a quick round of roses and thorns. I just want to just end the session, maybe wrap up in 5 minutes or so. But I'd love some thoughts. So let's start with Horst. So what's your rose, Horst?
My rose is that the game itself is awesome. So all the moves push us together. There's all these vectors pointing in all directions, and you get into the crossfire no matter what.
Awesome.
So the game's great, and you pulled everything together. I had lots of fun.
Awesome. Good. Cool. Garrett, how about you? What's a rose for today's session?
I need to start with the phone of internet connection, obviously, and because the roses that you still stand with me, and that you brought me back into this story, all of you, and that I even was having a dramatic moment at the end when my connection was getting better again, although I only covered half of the time as El Jefe.
That's great. Yeah. Nailed it. Fraser, how about you? What's a rose for you for today?
I think it's a really elegant design that is very clever for getting what you want out of it. I was especially impressed with Get the Truth. I love how that works, how it's like a manipulating thing but you establish it before the scene, so it works out very well. That was probably my favorite thing, is Get the Truth and how it works.
Cool, man. Good. And Donna, how about you?
Yeah, I really loved how messy all of our characters' lives were. There was no way this train was going to stay on the tracks. System-wise, I kind of love the help interfere one. I was on the bad side of that a few times, obviously, but
Yeah.
making your life worse for yourself by betting your stress just to get a +1 or -2 for someone. It's a great little twist on the usual help interfere.
Cool, man. Good. My roses, you all, I thought, really took to the material really well. The messy relationship act at the beginning, and the kind of like it's a little ridiculous, but also kind of super serious and melodramatic. Like I thought everyone did a great job, and I loved the images at the end of Azul running off into the darkness and ratting out the Sicaria, like the police like knocking the police officer down and getting his gun, and it's just sort of desperate in this really great way. So it was good. Thorns, Horst, do you have any thorns for today?
No, I have to cheat. I want to give more roses. The only thorn that I have is it's 2:30 in the morning after 2 days of con games, and like your enthusiasm is so infectious. Is that a word? That
Cool.
You drag me through my low energy state.
I was reading everybody's messages on the Discord, like, oh man, people are tired. They've been gaming all weekend. So yeah, tried to bring it for sure. Garrett, any thorns really on the internet?
Besides the internet, no thorn.
Awesome.
Like this was very smooth, and yeah.
Cool, man. Good. Fraser, any thoughts?
Again,
Yeah, I struggled to come up with the thorn as well. I don't know. The only thing I could maybe think of is all of the moves are so interesting, except for help or interfere is bland. If you had those like establishing questions beforehand that help out all the other moves, I think you could have a game that finally makes like help or hinder like way more interesting than all the other ones. Even mine is help or hinder just because I couldn't figure out a way to like do it.
I mean, from a designer perspective, it's one of those things of it's like a patch, right? It's like you do a thing and then somebody else says, wait, but I would want to stop it or help it. And you're like, oh, okay, fine, you can stop or help it, right? But like, how do we make that interesting is some design space that's really challenging.
Yeah, that's the only thing. So
Sure.
And that's probably floundering for some things.
Well, I feel you on it. Like it's a tough one. I think the stress wagering is interesting. We've been playing with that, and I think it works well for this. But I agree with you. All the rest are these like really rich, interesting things, and we're like +1, -2, right? Like it's not super exciting. How about you, Donna? Any thorns for today?
Apart from the fact that my alarm goes off for me to get up for work in 4.5 hours.
Oh no, man, get some sleep.
No, I mean, I think like on my sheet I had like those 5 names for the police and then 5 names for the cartel, and you probably made a choice on a one shot to skip the cartel one, so it's probably just too much stuff to fit into a 1 session game, right? But,
yeah, especially something that's like 2+ hours for sure. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, for me, the only thing is like this game does work pretty well for a PBTA one shot, but obviously the end today is a great example of like, I would love to come back and be like, okay, El Narco survived, and he tells the police to go get the Sicaria, but the Sicaria is with their daughter. Like, there's a whole bunch of cool stuff here for a session too. So, my thought is always, having to do one shots and not getting to nearly enough continuous gaming. So anyway, thank you all very much. It's been a real pleasure. I look forward to hearing any other thoughts you have. Email me if you have them. And thanks to our audience, anybody that made it all the way to this point in the video. We really appreciate it. Thank you. GauntletCon 2017. Woo!
Good night.
Thanks, everybody.